And away we go is what I was going to say, but I think my microphone wasn't working. Damn, why is it broken off the top of the episode? Why did I mess up so early, Russell? Damn. But I'll
Because
tell you one
look, the
thing.
tea was too hot. That's why.
I'll tell you one thing. I look good, and that is all that counts when
I
we
know that's
talk
right.
about the Real Housewives of Miami, the recap. Now, listen, I am a little all over the place because it is that time of the year. You know, people do have the winter depression. I'm not saying I have that, but I know that I had like a blemish on my nose, so I had a little blemish. I had to try to work that out. I had a little chapped lips. So I gotta really get through this winter and tighten up. I think all this food eating, all this family has really done a lot to me. So I'm not saying I'm not going to be at my best, but I just wanted to say if you try to comfort the blemish on my nose, I'm going to tell you to shut up. No.
You know
Anyways,
what? Look, no, if you don't want me at my blemish at my nose, then you can't
yes.
have me at my flawless skin. Okay?
You
Look.
can't have me when me and Larsa are going to the Versace mansion. You just
Thank
can't do
you.
it. Can't do it.
I know that's
Anyways,
right.
let's start the show because you know what? This is the Real Housewives of Miami recap. I'm randomly Ronnie Jr. having fun already with Russell Raymond. Russell Raymond, how you doing? How was your holiday season? Are you going through a winter wonderland? Are you going through a winter depression? How is Real Housewives of Miami sort of making it all kind of come together?
You know, I'm kind of like teetering back and forth, which is kind of my personality, anyways. I have my highs during the winter season, but I also have my lows. Um, but I mean, one of my highs is that for Christmas this year, I got a gift of climbing the Sydney Harbor Bridge for my birthday in February. So I'm actually really excited about that. There's a restaurant on the water. It's called Love Fish that we're gonna go to for that as well. So I'm very very excited about this.
Well, hot damn, that's like a gift. I mean, mine is simply um that I have a little drink here and it says randomly RJ.
Look,
Mm-hmm,
look, look, look.
mm-hmm.
Randomly is that, I mean, it's a Yeti though. That's not cheap. Number one, not that price
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Actually,
Mm.
I had bought, long story short, and we'll keep pushing forward, but you guys see my bracelets, right? Hold
All
on,
right,
here we
let's
go.
let's bring up that close
So
up.
like
Wash
one's a
out.
bell and then one's Roman
Wash out now.
numerals, and it has all of the it has like 12 for the 12 months of the year, right? So I thought it would be a beautiful thing to get my siblings and my nieces and nephews matching one. So I got my sisters, I got them pink rose gold versions of this, and then I got my brother a gold one. And then my nieces, I got the rose gold 12 months of the year, and then my nephews, I got them black one because I wanted my brother and myself to have a bit of a like not hierarchy, but this generation, the next generation is a little bit more modern. So I give them more of a
Gertie is gonna
modern
come
look.
for you. Gertie ain't gonna like that.
So I give them a little bit more of a modern to kind of fit their personalities. But
Mm.
the bracelets weren't that expensive, but the meaning behind it, like everyone
Oh,
got so
good.
excited about it. So that was probably like my highlight of the Christmas season is like I try to find something that means a little bit more than pricing, because no
Mm.
matter where we go, we're only separated by a phone call and FaceTime. So this is a little reminder when I look down, I have my brothers and sisters with me at all time, and there's nothing that I can't get through.
That is very good. There we go, winter wonderland. And here's the thing: I said winter depression. I'm not saying everything is fine. I'm just like making fun and having a little jab here, which is what we do on this show. Obviously, last episode we had a lot of fun with Marisol and her makeup on her teeth, and that's what we do here at the show. It is a pleasant recap. We do have a segment we're going to do a little bit later called Real Housewives Social Media Buzz, which is funny because I tend to not really take any of that too seriously, but there's something about this show, Real Housewives of Miami and Larsa to be specific, that's just lighting up the internet.
It really is lighting up the internet.
It is good. The ratings have to be solid. And I was going to tell you too, one thing that always makes the winter months good in terms of television, or maybe just trash reality TV. Well, let's not call it trash, exciting reality TV, is this is what they've always done. Jersey Shore also premiered in December when it first started. Summer House is also a show that airs on Bravo in the winter time. Something about being in the winter and then you being able to see that excitement, that other style of life that you can't really do right now is exciting. And these girls and this trip coming off of Key West is no different at all. What was your overall thoughts of the episode? I know you have thoughts on this guy. You just don't like Lenny, huh?
I don't like him. Gosh, I don't like him. He has such a punchable face.
Jeez.
He has such a punchable. I mean, it looks like he's already been punched in the death triangle with that's what doctors call it, by the way. It's the point of the mid nose going down to your left side of your frown lines going to the other side of your frown line. So this is the death triangle. So it already looks like that's a little bit indented. So I'm with Kiki when it comes to the shape of his head because something's off there. So I think he shouldn't be acting the way that he is, considering it looks like he's already been chin checked. So let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
But the episode is fine. Sorry, I got way off on that.
It's okay. No.
The episode was great.
Yeah.
There's I had a little bit of empathy and emotions. I would be lying if I said I did not join in on the spiritual healing and cry myself. We all go through things, and I'm on my own personal journey right now. Yeah. So that kind of hit me a little differently, but it also intrigued me with Kiki because, we really got a little bit more insight on her and a little bit more realness. And that's what we love as the fans, is we really like to relate to our characters. So I related a bit to Kiki, and I related a bit to Marisol as well as Lisa. So it was my own little emotional journey. I lit a little bit of sage and some some incense, and got my feelings together, because sometimes it's good to cry. Okay, let it out. Sometimes it's good because life is hard. The economy is hard, but if you just believe that you're gonna make it through. Like, we all go through chapters. Some chapters are great. Some chapters are less than, meaning like you just want to get it over with. But you know what? We get through it. And if you can look to a brighter day, you're gonna be all right.
Well, I think that's what makes this cast so fun. We are sort of utilizing and vicariously living through their experiences, and, not to dwell on it, but as I was saying, I'm like, was it a winter wonderland? Was it a winter depression? Like, at the end of the day, I won't not allow, but in terms of the way I broadcast, I always want to keep that honesty that, like, a lot of people are going through stuff right now, so this is not like just, is Russell emotional, is randomly not feeling his best, got a blemish on the nose. I'm saying we're here to keep it funky. We're here to keep it real. And that's enjoyable. I will tell you, though, real quick, before we do anything, we'll start the recap in a second, Russell. If you like what we're doing, and I know you do, and you're already on the Peacock streaming platform to begin with, why don't you hop on over to a show called Create the Escape? Create the Escape is basically escape rooms. Russell, you could give more information on this, but I could tell you that Russell was on the show as like a host and a design expert, and that was on the streaming platform Peacock, which you're already watching by watching Larsa, Lisa, Dr. Nicole, and the rest of the gals. So might as well go ahead and check out his show, because he was getting that coin when the Peacock streaming platform started. So I thought we'd at least tell everybody that they could see a little bit more of your TV show.
I mean, look, if you want to pawn your kids off like Lenny and have a babysitter, a televised babysitter, I can tell you, I got you. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, good wholesome TV.
Let them watch the show. I'll babysit them in my already filmed episodes, and then you come here, you hang out with me, you get the best of both worlds. And
let's do it. Yeah.
Sides. You get the fun kind of like let my hair down kind of person, and then you get the other one that's like kid friendly and having a good time. So
it's called duality. It's called getting checks. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
And when I think of
versatility,
when I think of Lenny, I think, ooh. No, Lenny, not attractive at all. Anyways, Marisol, we love you. We know Marisol's watching the show, so hi, Marisol, how are you? Girl. We know she's watching.
Thank you. By the way, like, thanks for the love. Like, she really, her, Gertie, Kiki, and Lisa all kind of like, they liked my little post about them when we first rolled out the carpet. So thanks for joining me on that, because I was so excited about that.
Real Housewives of Miami, the recap, and we'll do more things as it goes. We will probably do a Real Housewives of New Jersey recap with on Russell's channel, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be fun. Anyways, just keep watching and we'll let you know what happens. So
we'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah. Why don't you take away the recap? And as I said at the end of the episode, we have something really, really fun, which is our social media buzz segment, which is brand new. It's brought to you by Pop Culture POV, which is a site that I work on, and it's brought to you by Social Pop Now, which is a site that Russell works on. But I know you've been saying, damn, we're watching this show, we're all these minutes in, and you guys haven't talked about this epic show. So Russell, take it away with Stars and Cigars, episode 7 of Miami Housewives.
So let's just take it right off the top, where they were making their mojitos. How did you feel about the mojitos? Because I know last week we had who gets a mojito. So it's kind of ironic that they would do this in the episode. So I was actually, that was a little pat on the back for you, Ronnie. Like, I was like, you were spot on. Yes. And not only that, you all, let me tell you, Ronnie tends to have some insight. So this made me question if you knew more about what's going to be coming in these next episodes than you're leading. But I mean, trust you.
I know a lot. People want to act like I'm a chump, but they just don't know shit. So it is what it is.
Look, because you had the golden spoon on what was happening, and I'm like, that aligns a little too well.
I mean, the kid's been in the industry since I was 21. I'm 42. Like, what you act like I don't know how things move? No, I'm joking.
Looking like you 30. Okay.
Yeah, except for my blemish today, but I'm still beautiful. No, I loved that part of the show for sure, and I like to see all of the different things they did throughout the episode. Even the cigars was a interesting part as well. What I think this show does differently is it has so many different facets. You know, I know I'm like kind of saying it all right now. Say it all. I'm saying it all, but like even with the aspect of the shaman, like I've always said that yes, keep these shows dramatic, keep these shows on the edge of your feet in terms of, oh my gosh, something really pivotal is happening, but also give us, like, it's kind of like music. Like I grew up as a 90s, you know, I'm in high school in the late 90s, and hip hop music of that time was very like, it went to places, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It had buildups, it had a crescendo. And I feel like now both music and also these reality shows, they're almost like, I call it TikTok TV. And I don't like it because it's so staccato-y, so jumpy. And I feel like I love that we're getting the mojito moment. I love that we're getting the cigar moment. I love that we're getting the shaman emotional moment. So you had me all in with this episode. I was equally, I give it about I give it the same as I rated last week, an 8.5. Only because I can't say a 9, because at the end of the episode, which we'll get to, it is heartbreaking to know that Lisa's having a scene with her mother. We'll get there, but that just is it's harder to watch. You know what I mean? When there's kids involved, like there's a check involved too, but yeah.
Look, let's head right into when the girls are at the table, and so she gave her perspective.
Did you think Gertie was out of line? You're saying you thought she was in the right to kind of jump in?
Look, when Gertie was at the table and she was talking about the hierarchy and the pecking order and how some people can get the mic and some people cannot, that makes 100% sense to me. And I'll tell you why. Because when it does come to the Housewives franchise, we all know who the front runner and the leaders are. So at the Real Housewives of New Jersey, it's Teresa and it's Melissa. So they're always going to have the mic regardless. And so sometimes other people don't get the mic and get to shine as big, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We don't need that many leaders and hierarchy. We do need some that kind of just blend in and like have a different role in the show. But Gertie saying that, I was like, this makes complete sense. So I don't understand why the girls kind of turned it a bit, saying that they didn't understand the references, because I 100% understood the reference. We know Larsa's always going to have a mic. We know Alexia's always going to have a mic. We also know that Lisa's always going to have a mic, but everyone else kind of falls under the spectrum somewhere.
I think Marisol does too, just because she's so tied in with the 20-year friendship with Alexia. I think she always has it too. Yeah.
But she's tied in by default, meaning she doesn't necessarily say much. She does have her one-liners and everyone pays attention to them, but she's direct. She's not overly outspoken like the other girls. The other girls are a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more front and center. You know what I mean? The other girls a little bit more formation, and the other girls are a little bit more background dancers. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because like everyone
insert your foot in your mouth, which I did last episode. So this is what we do.
Like backup dancer.
I feel like I get you so much, but I also don't.
No, look.
Tell me, make an argument.
Gertie had every right to say what she said. She's tired of sitting back. She's tired of not getting the attention and being able to express her opinion without getting torn down like Alexia. Like nothing has torn down Alexia, nothing has torn down Larsa, and nothing really has torn down Lisa. Even though there was that rivalry right at the beginning with them over like the apartment building and the new loft that Larsa has.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they still hold the attention, and there's really not much. I don't want to say tearing down, but micro analyzing as there is with the other girls. And Gertie tends to be looked past, or she comes secondary. So I think she has every right to say what she said. I think I'm loving that the spotlight was on her. I love the facial expressions she makes because my mom makes the same ones. If she don't agree with what you're saying, she's gonna go. She's gonna sit back and pause for a minute. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Everyone is entitled because everyone who has a lead position on this show should be equally holding the spotlight.
Oh my goodness. Are we about to get into a little argument?
Tell me.
I don't know if I agree with you.
In the words of Julia, give it to me. Give it to me.
I don't agree with Julia and I don't agree with you.
Why?
Okay, let me first start by saying I just can't get enough of Gertie in general. We haven't even really talked about Gertie's fashions even being amazing. So Gertie is like legit top tier housewife. Nobody is saying that. I mean, nobody's not saying that. It did feel a little bit like Gertie was arguing with the air. Like, who was her target? Like, Gertie, I need to know who you're coming at. And yes, you made sense that it was basically Alexia, Larsa, and Marisol and Lisa. But it felt like it was also alluding to a little bit of like jealousy. You know, the approach that you should take is because Gertie and Dr. Nicole are in the same situation. They're trying to elevate their scenario, but I think Dr. Nicole's doing it in a way that we're falling in love with her, whereas Gertie's doing it in a way where she's like, I'm going to come at them, which is the classic. I mean, I've watched many of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. I mean, all the different franchises, but Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, you always had some less than compelling cast member go at Moniece. Well, Moniece is a little bit, she'd have some issues. If you know the reference, you know the reference. But that person who was less than compelling always got to be, you know, a top storyline because Moniece was always interesting. I just think Gertie's better than that. That's all I'm saying. I just didn't know who Gertie was arguing with, Russell. Who was the argument? And also, here's another thing. It's not saying stay in your lane, play your position. I think Gertie's amazing. I've already mentioned that 1,000 times through all of our episodes. Go back and look. But you to be mad and say there's a hierarchy and there's a pecking order and I don't like that, Gertie, you don't have a leg to stand on. You're on the season number 2. You have not created that for yourself. You're going to tell me Larsa, who has been in the spotlight since the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan days, and, you know, whatever the case with the Kardashians, I'm not a fan of the Kardashians, but I'm a huge fan of Larsa. Like, you're telling me that Larsa needs to be equal to you. You could step up and be equal to her, but she can't downgrade and be equal to you. Now, I would never say that, Gertie. I would never say that. I've got respect. However, you can't like get mad at somebody because they're popping. You know what I mean? Your only argument, Russell, that
My
would maybe
only argument?
Your only argument that I would even teeter on, and we could open this to the comments. The only argument.
I'm waiting.
He said, I just said a bunch of stuff and I only got 1 point. The only point you got from me is that they are all holding the mojitos like equally as leads. But again, how are you going to tell me that Larsa has to, you know, diminish her light for you to be equal to her? I mean, but
that's not the conversation though. That wasn't where she was going with this. She was saying, my opinion matters, and I'm sick and tired of everybody else getting to have an opinion, but I can't have an opinion. She does technically hold weight on the show because she is part of it. She's a main cast member, so she should be able to say what she wants. Grant you, she should also be able to judge the other girls and not have a hard time about it either. So that's where I'm standing with this. And who she was arguing with, it was a generalization across the table because it was just a
Maybe
lot of
Russell, maybe that's what I didn't like. It was
what?
a generalization. Maybe that's what I'm being honest.
Okay.
Maybe it was I didn't like that it was a generalization. I would have needed a little bit more like this is bothering me specifically because a generalization it really did kind of become an empty sentence. That's why I said I love Gertie, but like who's the person you're talking about? Who is treating you in a way that makes you go to this space? I guess that's the question that I have. Who
Okay.
is taking you there? I
I
don't
feel like
feel
it was in a sense directed at Alexia.
that would have made me feel a little bit more sympathetic and empathetic to what she was saying because she does have issues with her. But again, my defense for the great Larsa, it's like, you're making that blanket sentence. And that's to say, the other thing is Larsa did say, hey, everyone, let's stop. Let's let Gertie talk. Like, let's let her have the floor. Give her the chance to kind of state her opinion and her point and put some factual information out there. I just don't know that Gertie was it really didn't have a lot of merit. And you know that I'm telling the truth. You know that I'm right about this. You do.
You're right. You're right. Wait a minute. Hold up.
You know that I'm telling the truth.
Is the most wonderful time. Let's not ruin that, okay? Hold on. Hold on. No, there was she had reason to say what she said. And then when she broke it down, she did acknowledge Alexia. She did acknowledge that. And all she said was, she was interrupted when she was speaking across the table, and that her opinion didn't offer as much weight.
The only point that I'll give you, the only other point I'll give you is that she did when Adriana came up to her after it was like her talking about like, oh, it shouldn't be a hierarchy. We should all be equal, respectfully the same. And that was later on. You know what I mean? That wasn't in the actual original conversation with the table. But again, we watch a show. There's only, so many minutes we get to see. We don't know if over the last couple of episodes or weeks, in terms of the filming process, she had been feeling like her, getting to speak hadn't really, been validated by the other women. So she has every right to have it. I just didn't love it. I guess that's a really fun way to say, you're not going to have me turn my light down because you need to feel validation for yourself. You're going to have to do that separately. Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think she was asking anybody to turn their light down.
Isn't it good that we have all these opinions?
I think she was asking for her opinion to be respected. And I think it should be respected because just because you're in a happy relationship, and we're going to go back to last episode.
Oh, okay. Here's a point.
Just because you're in a happy relationship doesn't mean that you can't give advice based off of a breakup or empowering a single mother, because we've all been through breakups. We've all been in those shoes. And then not only that, she was trying to support Lisa. So, but again, everyone right away, it's like, oh, well, she's never been through it. I've been through it. Okay, you've been through it. Cool. No worries. But every breakup has its different scenarios. Some can be a little bit more messy.
Yes, but young innocent Russell, I gotta tell you, it wasn't just like Larsa saying, "Hey, Gertie, chill. I've been through this. Let me have her back." And Gertie saying, I understand that. Again, I totally was on the side of Gertie saying, "I can say whatever I want." I give her that. But what Larsa's also saying is, this is my girl. That's not your girl. Like, you're not tight with Lisa. Like, why are you giving too much information? I mean, Gertie could take that defensively. I get that. But I just wanted to add another element, that the other element isn't just that I'm relatable to what she's about to go through. That's also one of my besties. Like, Gertie, do you even know Lisa? You know what I mean? You're not even that close with her. So I just want that element to be brought into there. What do you think about that when I tell you that? Do you what do you feel?
I don't think it was that deep I don't think it was that deep for Gertie, because I think she was really just trying to say, like, you're going to do fine. It's going to be you. It's going to be all about you. It's going to be about your kids. Don't worry about focusing on someone like that. Because in a sense, and we're going to remove Gertie from the situation just in general. In a sense, there was a bit of denial there of what was really going on, which they did mention in this episode, that Lisa didn't want to believe that there was any sexual intercourse or like sexual activity going on. And in reality, it really was. And not to say that like we don't, as individuals, we hope to not give up on love. But when something is just when something is clear as day, like you got to call it
Mhm.
what it is. You
Yeah.
have to call it what it is, because if not, you're going to do more damage to yourself. So if someone doesn't want to be with you, and if they're already moving on with
Mhm.
somebody forward and it's a girlfriend, of course, when you get into a relationship at first, the sexuality and the sexual activity is going to be a lot more increased than if you've been together.
For 14, 15 years. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think
I
I
guess I
think in
just have
that
a
sense, like she was just trying to give her the support that she felt that she needed, because once the revelation of he already has somebody on the side, it was like all bets were off. Because
Mhm.
at that point, you already know what the jig's up, like you already know what it is. Like, let's just call a spade, and that's what it
Yeah.
is. He was already moving forward with somebody else. He already admitted to it on camera. Not that they knew this at this time. Um, but at the end of the day, it is going to be her, and it is going to be her with her kids alone. Now, we know, fast forward into December of 2022, that she was on Watch What Happens Live with a nice little side piece who compliments her very well.
Mhm,
So, in a
mhm.
sense, Gertie was right. Like, it was going to be her. She was going to move forward. She was going to be living her best life. And you know what? Based off how the paparazzi caught her and Larsa this week, Lisa is doing just fine, and she is living her best life.
You really are you on Gertie's payroll?
Hey, Gertie.
I like her too. You know that I like her. This is
I
not a
know you like her. I do. I do. I do.
it's just as an example, and we won't bring too much like okay, so we do a show together, and if in a year we bring a third person into the show, if
Oh, you
each
want
of
to be a throuple?
if each like what I'm saying is like I don't know if I would be offended like if there's another person who's now part of the group, because this is what it is. That's what I think I'm getting frustrated with. Gertie sounds to me like she's mad that she's not that tight within the group, and it's like,
Got it.
how can you get mad when you're new to the group? You know what I mean?
That's more
It's
clear to me. That makes more
oh,
sense
I should
to
have said it
me.
like that because I'll say
Because if someone hasn't gone out in New York with you and I, they don't know what's
come
up,
on.
because you know how we get down when it
And
comes to New
we had the
York.
photos in the video. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We went in. And my point is
Period.
like, and that's a great example too. It's like if in terms of friendships, and that's what this is, Gertie, Lisa, and even Larsa Gertie, you know, these are all dynamics and friendships and who knows who and how and through the TV show or whatever. But I'll tell you, like, if we because our show is expanding, we are getting, you know, so big. People love our show.
They
And the
do. They
thing is, if
really
we
love
brought
us.
someone else in, you don't get to like if something were to happen, like, you know, Lord forbid to you, to Russell, like
Uh-huh.
like I'm the one been doing the show with him for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be first in line to have his back, et cetera, et cetera. But
Okay.
then if like your, you know, one of your true best friends jumps in, I can't be like, "Oh, that's not fair. I didn't get to like, you know, give my advice and support because such and such best friend stepped in." It's like there, I hate to say it, but there is really actually an order. I mean, the way
Yeah.
we treat people, there is
That makes
actually
sense.
there's kind of actually an order, Gertie. Now, if it was for great TV, baby, I loved it because Gertie is like, you're not gonna tell me, and I love a person who's gonna tell me you're not gonna tell me. So I
But you know
guess
what? That is what's going to make her on this show, is being outspoken, because it's propelling her forward to where she needs to be.
yeah, and I mean, I hate to bring it up because, like I said, it is a not a play or anything like that, but it is a you know, you're gonna the only way, and I don't like this because it only makes a vulnerable space for like a Larsa type. You're only going to sometimes get to a certain level on these shows, but
Mhm.
the moment you like Love and Hip Hop Hollywood with Moniece, as I use the example, once you kind of challenge somebody who is the big dog, you kind of are now balancing that same weight, and then
Yes.
you will get that star power. And you know what? To a degree, Gertie's so amazing. I loved her first season. Maybe there's just a part of her that's like, I got to be extra compelling this year. I love this new lifestyle. I don't want to ever even be considered not to be a part of this show.
Yes.
And she's a beautiful Haitian woman. I love the marriage. I love her event production. I love what she did
Yes.
for her brother, you know, last season. So there's so many good things. And, you know, oftentimes we see great cast members who do great things, but
They get passed on.
they're not shown another opportunity. So
Yeah.
I want to be well rounded with my views on Gertie. Just don't come for my Larsa, and I think we'll be okay. And by the way, I'm so whack because every time Russell says, No, she didn't come for Larsa, but I get very defensive. You see, I get very defensive. We should move on.
I mean, it's okay because we're on the same level when it comes to J Lo or Jen. So if
Yes.
anybody comes for Jen, look,
Yep.
look,
Yep.
look. We're just gonna touch on this for a second. People came for Jen in the comments a while back about a song that she sang, and nobody recognized that there was. I'm not going to mention who the artist is, but there was an artist who also did uh, a certain number or
Mhm.
act that you could say, who was damn near looking like a fool with the pants on the ground. Okay.
Mhm.
That. But nobody claimed that one, right? But all of a sudden, everybody wants to bash Jennifer or like bash Jen. And it wasn't
Mhm.
going to happen. I was going to let you know what it was. I was going to let you know who it was. We won't do it here because we don't want to just bring too much into this. We don't want to stray away too far from the Housewives. But again, we're on the same page when it comes to that. So I get it.
Yeah.
Also,
Well, it sounds like you need to support, if you wanted to support, RussellRaySilva.com, RandomlyRonnieJr.com. And if you want to make it rain on Ronnie, Patreon.com/RandomlyRonnieJr. You know, we do this show, Real Housewives of Miami, the recap, and it's tons of fun. But you do know that, like I said, Russell has his TV show on the Peacock streaming platform. You do know that I've been in this business for quite some time and have interviewed everybody under the sun, you know, all the people, the Britneys, the Kim K's, you know, the Kim's ex, we could even say the Nicki Minaj's, the Amanda Lepore's. Oh, I love that picture of Amanda Lepore.
yes.
Nonetheless, we have other opinions, and you will see us enjoying Real Housewives, but probably branching out to other things too. And when you started talking about Jenny, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll have more in that vein as well.
Look, okay. And like sometimes when I read the comments, my face is like, but speaking of faces, can we touch on Gertie's faces? I mean, it was a thing. Everybody had
Mhm.
to talk about it. They really did. But the best moment when it came to that situation was Gertie in her confessional. Be like, my dog doesn't talk to me like that. My husband doesn't talk to me like that. My kids, my mom, whatever she said.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me was the fact that she mentioned her dog. And I was like, girl, whose dog talks to them like that?
I said last episode or last I don't know when it was, but like Gertie's last season, the way she like cut it's almost like she cut the fourth wall, which is already what a confessional is, and
Uh-huh.
said, "Oh yeah, look at Russell. Don't you think he's hot, Andy?" I mean, she's just so joyful. And I think my earlier critique of her, which did come off a little heavy, is that I mean, we have to expect everyone to have a duality. We just do.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I really like Gertie for is all of the fun and big energy and you know, nutty behavior, you know, goofy behavior and warmth and all that stuff. And she definitely has proven that that's who she is, and these facial expressions are of course right on track with that. You know, Kiki took to it as well, and she really enjoyed, you know, sort of mimicking what Gertie looks like. And so here's a close up. And I just think this is just too funny. And this is a second really fun moment with our Kiki, you know, just the way she, you know, reacted to Lenny's, the size of his head, and if you're bald, you're a cheater. And then now just having fun with like, yeah, that Gertie, she sure does make facial expressions. It was good
Honestly,
TV. Yeah, it
though,
was good TV.
before we get back to the facial expressions, can you go back to that photo really quick? Can we just talk about how it's just impeccable Kiki looks in this outfit? Like Kiki is Barbie right here in this outfit. Like boom.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
she is the Barbie that everybody wanted growing up. Like the glamorous outfit, like the beauty behind it, like just everything is so on point and she wears it so well. Like
Yeah, she's a model,
gorgeous.
honey. She's a model. Yes,
I
yes.
mean, and we probably pulled, and she probably, when she sees this, she's probably gonna hate us for it. But we probably pulled this photo, and she absolutely hates it and wants it like destroyed and off the internet. But like, look at like the
No,
lighting hitting
Kiki.
her. Like, it looks great.
Kiki. Every episode, we're gonna get this. Just like every episode, when it's time, you're gonna get this. Well, not her, Marisol. This show is about fun. This show is when no one's. It's not the teardown show, you know. But yeah, Kiki has just been amazing, and whoever because you never know who gets brought back second season, but whoever did make these decisions and said we have to bring her back, like we're getting that return on investment.
I mean,
I just really enjoy her, quite a bit, and I mean looking forward to seeing what's next. Not to jump the gun or anything like that, but in terms of the little bit we got from the shaman, her saying I'm starting over. So it's like, well, what is the starting over? Like
yeah,
my mind just went to all the places, and I think that was what you want to do when you're a part-timer based on our segment last week. Go look it up. You can find that at randomlyronniejr.com. We said which of the three part-timers should be full-time. Well, what you want in that is you want your part-timers to leave you wanting more.
yeah.
And equally, they're all pretty good, but just Kiki is new and it's fun and it's fresh. And to Gertify herself was wonderful.
Who's whose face was the best? Like for you, who gave you the best? Who gave you the best Gertie?
um, well, Marisol was not bad either. I mean, they're all fun. It's a fun thing. It was because again, it wasn't a make fun of situation. It was this is a thing that Gertie does. Let's have fun with it. So I thought they were all pretty
My
equal. Yeah.
favorite, my favorite was when they did the flashback to Gertie herself, and she was like,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because that's something I would do. I throw shade. I really do. I'll be in a group and I'm a little bit more reserved when it comes to interacting with people right off the bat. Because, like, I want to read you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what you're about. I want to know what you're giving. I want to know if you're giving love and light, positivity. I want to know if you're giving a good time, or I want to know if you're giving tear down. So I don't immediately jump into a situation. So I can relate to that because when I hear things, sometimes I'm like, "You hang out with this person? Why are you hanging out?"
Listen,
Mm-mm.
and
Mm-mm.
sometimes it's actually very effective. When you watch well, it was on VH1, now moved to MTV, RuPaul's Drag Race, a lot of the younger contestants know that these great facial reactions do make you a meme queen.
They do.
And that's not saying that's what Gertie's that's not why she did these facial expressions, but I will tell you that we are on the verge of having Gertie maybe becoming that meme queen just because of how big and how fun her energy is. Yeah.
I hope so. I honestly, I genuinely hope so. Um, Now, what I do want to touch on, and this is, I know we're sticking to positivity and love and light,
Oh,
but
don't read nobody. It's the
we're
holiday
not reading
season.
anybody. We're not reading anybody. We're not reading. We're simply spark noting somebody.
Oh boy.
Shout out
Buckle
to
up,
Spark Notes. You got
everybody.
me through high school and you got me through college. Thank you so much. Um, how did you feel about Alexia pulling out the marriage license of Thierry, Adriana's date, who everybody has been claiming has been married? And how did you feel about the phone call that she had with him on the way to uh, the spiritual awakening?
I feel like Alexia sort of has done something really great where she can make moments where she maybe overstepped, but
Mhm.
that's been so true to her character that I think the cast is generally okay with those things. It is up in someone's business, guaranteed, but this is the Alexia that we've, not we, but the cast has all befriended for all these years.
Mhm.
Um, I think the one thing that would have made me more shocked was the time that she was at the beach and she asked a general question, but then 2 seconds later she goes, "Oh no, but because he's married." So it's like if you got the info, just come with the info. Don't you
Mhm.
know frame the sentence and frame the scenario and then have this big bit of information that like no, I know for sure that he's married. Um, but the only thing is what it did was it actually made, because I had no issues with Alexia in
Mhm.
that. But it actually made Adriana's call to the guy, which may have been a lie,
Mhm.
really cute and really fun. Adriana was one of my, season one unenjoyable, season two unenjoyable, season three unenjoyable, season four unenjoyable. Um, but it gave me like a little cutesy vibe with her, when she even when she did the confessional and she's like, "See, I called him. He's not married. Yay!" or something like that.
My heart went out to her. It really did. My heart really went out to
Mhm.
Adriana just because when you're looking for love and when you think you found it or when you think you're vibing with someone, these moments are so exciting and you know you have all the butterflies in your stomach, and you have all of the excitement and just running through your blood, and the smile is bigger and everything's just better. And so it made me sad for her, not only to have that information revealed, but going back, because I had to watch this twice and I really wanted to analyze it to see where Thierry was at. And when he first stated that they've been separated for 5 years, in my mind, I seen that as married but separated, like we had mentioned on previous episodes, where everyone has their own idea of.
Yeah, I thought that was clear as day. Is that's what it was?
No, but then he doubled down and he said divorced for 3.
So that becomes now the lie.
Yes, and that's what Alexia was trying to bring to the table. And so in my heart, I want this to be more of a, I was nervous to tell you these things, or I was nervous to let you know that we're technically still married, but we're not together. And I really hope that they're living separate lives and they have their own things going on, and that this isn't anything that would affect Adriana's relationship. But in my experience, I know when you show them, when they show you their cards, you got to read the hand for what it is. And this is where it's at right now. We can have some more insight later, because I know you're holding out on me, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But it really made me sad for her, because this episode she kind of went through it. She did.
Well, what about Adriana? Like, she didn't really have any issues with Alexia kind of bringing that information. So how much are we believing that Alexia is doing this for the sake of, I guess, marriage, or for the sake of making sure Adriana isn't the homewrecker, or how much of it does look a little bit shady? By, like, I feel like I'm asking the question, and I also, very rarely does this happen, I don't necessarily have an answer, but I don't know that it's completely genuine. I just don't know.
Here's in my mind, there's an obligation to bring it up, because they're all under contract and certain things have to be spoken about. Especially because this has been kind of it's kind of been a storyline, you know, from the beginning, even back to the wedding and flashing back on a date, you know, date 1, date 2. So I think there's a pressure to bring it up, which is like genius by Bravo.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have personally, as a friend, I wouldn't have brought it up at the table. I maybe would have brought it up, not maybe just one-on-one, but maybe, you know, 1-on-2, whether it be you have a secondary person or I have a secondary person. Like, look, like,
right,
I just want to be completely transparent. This is the information that I have, because I love you as a person and I want to protect you. I didn't know if I wanted to present it to you, or bring it up and let you go and run with it the way that you're going to. So I did talk to, for example, I did talk to Larsa about it, and she kind of advised me the best way she could about going about this, because we want to take your utmost care of your feelings into consideration. But this is what I found according to the Miami-Dade state documents. It states that he's still married. He's been married for 5 years, and this is updated every 12 months. And so this is where he's at now. That does not show a divorce certificate. And so I want to protect you, and I want to protect your feelings. And this is the facts. Now you can take that and present it to him if you want, or you can keep it in your pocket in case things start getting a little shaky. But this is where we're at. And maybe I shouldn't have looked into it, but again, I care about you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm actually very impressed that Adriana didn't take it in a personal way. She could have, because I feel like a little bit, I said this on another episode, this is not a knock to Alexia, but I feel like Alexia kind of got a lot of judgment from Adriana last season. So is this kind of like a little bit of a tit for tat kind of thing? But, you know, you made a compelling point that maybe it's literally just about this information should be out there. That way, Adriana, if you do want to go down this lane, you have to know, you know, potentially you're hurting the wife, et cetera, et cetera. And again, we don't know all that, but at least now the information is out there. But again, on a show like this, I'm a little proud of Adriana for just having restraint, because that's a very easy moment to be like, you know, to call out Alexia and say, you're not doing this as my friend. You're doing this as, you're trying to paint me as a homewrecker. And I only make that mention because I just never thought I would enjoy Adriana in any kind of way. But there's something, I guess I seen, I guess I would have to fact check this, but something around, you know, the concept of like, she's not one of the younger housewives. And something about me saying, wow, she's, I don't want to say the age, but she's a little bit older. She's lived a really great life. Again, she speaks the 5 languages. She's
Yeah.
playful with the music, and the way she has really been carrying herself has been okay to me. I don't know. So that's all I got.
Can we just talk about, like, as everyone went into their confessionals to talk about this situation, how Marisol and Alexia did a confessional together, and Marisol had her sunglasses on and her under eye patches. I'm like, yes, girl. We
She
ain't
is
got no time
giving,
for glam. We got to fill you in on what's going on.
which is the best kind of OTF on the fly confessional you're going to get. The
Yes.
confessionals that are glam or whatever is not nearly what it should be when you just like grab them and say, what just happened, you know?
Yeah.
And again, we know that Marisol, it's like, it's not, we know she's, dipping into her inner Mama Elsa. We say that all the time. And I'm still all for it. And I think the girls, one thing that they did that I was really, really happy about was they created this element, for me to want to get excited about the Ultimate Girls Trip, because Alexia and Marisol are going to be on the next Ultimate Girls Trip, which will be airing probably pretty soon. And
Yes.
it just kind of made me more intrigued. I know that on that cast there's Giselle, who I love, Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac's on it, so it kind of really got me in the mood for that. I know that wasn't the intention with the way it was edited, but that's how I felt. That's how I totally felt.
I loved how this moment wrapped up though at the table, and how they extended a phone call to Lisa, and then it was like boom, everybody was like team defense for Lisa, which I really appreciate. They were like they had a Kiki. They said lock the doors, lower the blinds, change the locks, like get them out, stay in the house, which I do appreciate, because Lenny shouldn't have brought Katharina back to the house at all for a date night, for any type of night. Like, no, it's not his business is not finished. He shouldn't be acting like a dog. It's one thing to fall in love with somebody else and want to move on with your life. It's another to turn into a dog and to start doing doggy things, because once you start eating out that dog dish, like, trust me, you will be put outside, and now you're up for judgment on us, and we're gonna tear you to shreds, because I had the respect for him and the fact that he wanted to protect her health. Again, you and I coming from the LGBTQIA2+ community. I had to look up because I had to make sure I got that right.
Well, Larsa last season, she didn't get it right last season, so I'm glad you corrected it. Yeah.
What we went through when it came to the AIDS pandemic, and I have coworkers who we've lost because there was just no cure for it, or any antibiotics or anything behind it. So I did have to give credit where credit was due, and he really did, whether it was intentional or unintentional, he really did her a favor by looking out for her health, by not being with her physically and sexually. So I appreciate that. But however, if you're going to move on and you're going to continue your life and you're going to go through this mid-aged life crisis, don't be doggy about it. Don't be dirty, and don't bring someone into your home. Your kids are raised in that home, and it's disrespectful. It's not only disrespectful towards your future ex-wife, but it's also disrespectful to your children, because that is how they're going to see love, as in it's okay to move forward and bring someone into my home, instead of it's better to end things and work on yourself and progress forward. So that's what I have to say about that.
It's like a tiny, tiny olive branch you're giving in terms of his actions, how he hurt Lisa, but there's one light, I guess, you're seeing at the end of the tunnel in terms of him making the complete breakaway and not sort of engaging with both women at the same time. Or, by the way, it could have been 3 other women. Like, we just don't really know.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting is I made mention last episode that, like, is there a part, not defending Lenny whatsoever, but is there a part that, like, why is he being so mean? Like, we just try to understand, like, to be mean is one thing, but also to be like, well, take your kids too. Like, that's very inhumane. And I think Marisol mentioned in this episode, I can't remember where in the particular episode, but it's something along the lines of, like, maybe he's been indicating it's not going well, this, and this. And she wasn't really, she was a bit in denial. That wasn't Marisol being shady. That, I think, was done with love.
Yes.
And so there might have been that, because it just doesn't add no justification why he's being this wild in terms of the situation. Like, why would you be that mad? Don't you fell out of love with her, great. You got this new young thing, great. That fulfills you in a way. But
Yeah, like it's
you,
fulfilling your mid-age life crisis, and that's where we're at.
yeah,
So
but
good for you.
but the kids know. A couple things before we get off the concept of the table that they're all having dinner. It really was that wonderful sisterhood moment, which is why
Yeah.
anyone who's come to enjoy Real Housewives from the earlier seasons loves stuff like this.
Yes.
You had Julia that was jumping out the window by saying to do this and do that, and I love the way Larsa calmly was like, no, because then she'll be looking crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody will have a photograph of that, and this is not going to help her case. See, Larsa's like
Look.
so calm about it. But the best, and you could say anything you saw from the table too. The best of it was when they were like, "Oh, she didn't think." I think you mentioned it a bit ago. She didn't think they were actually having sex, and then
Yeah.
Adriana, cute little Adriana, said, "Oh, don't you?" She said, "Don't you wish the other girl had my 4-month rule now?" Like Adriana is.
Yes.
I feel like I could love on Adriana this season because she's, and I'm not being mean at all. She's like giving me like this corny, like lovable. I don't know, something just that was way out of line. The topic was the comment was so stupid. Yes, but I wasn't mad at Adriana.
I wasn't
Like,
mad at it either. I think that was great. It was impeccable timing.
mm,
Um, but I also think too, we get to this point in our lives where we should live our life a little bit like that.
mhm.
We should slow down a little bit and kind of think about who we're engaging with and where they've been and who they've been with, and we should take those things into consideration because we
Not
don't know
for
what's going
not
on.
not 4 months though.
I'm
That's
not
a
gonna say
long.
4 months, but like maybe 4 hours or like 4 minutes.
I could say I'm trying to think how if I'm engaged with somebody and we're like kicking it, what is the longest that I would want to make that proclamation? Because that proclamation is not a bad thing. Abstinence in terms of you wanting to be focused on like I would like to abstain that way I could connect with the person. I do think that's great.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see me in my human body and we are all flesh. I think I could probably do about a month. That would be if I'm kicking it with you, we're having a great time. I don't know that after a month, um, 4 months is a very long time. I think she needs to, Adriana. I know you're watching the show. Hi, Adriana.
Hey,
She
girl.
watches. Um, I think 4 months is. I get the concept. I get that it showcases you're a different kind of woman. You're not like all these other gals, but
It doesn't
don't
even
block your
showcase.
blessing. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead. Go
don't
ahead.
block your blessing with 4 months. And that's
Yeah.
not even to say that the guy suddenly is this like only looking for you for that. But
Mhm.
4 months is just, you don't want to put too many things in the way.
I don't look. I don't think there's a right time frame for everyone. I don't think there's a blanket time frame where everybody should hold out. But what I do respect is that she's looking for somebody who's not leading with sex. And I don't necessarily agree with 4 months, but I think you should get to know the person. And I mean, like, look, everybody has their one night stands, and I think everybody should have a one night stand. I do.
I agree with that.
Because,
I agree with that too. I always
yes.
say I always want my one night stands to at least happen a second time. That way I could feel better about myself. And it's just fun. I don't think, I mean, in the amount of one night stands I've had, like, it's a good amount, a decent amount. But every single time I always made sure I got a repeat visit. There's just, so that's why I can't blame Adriana, because we all have our things. And is
Yes.
that me to say like, oh, I've got a moral, whatever? Maybe. I think there's only been one night stand that has ever been, that's it, never again. But every other one has been at least came back for a second visit. And then after that, I'm like, I'll never talk to you again. It's just, we all have our things. And maybe that's why when I was younger, I was like, do what you do. But I'm not Adriana's age, but as you get older, your opinion changes so much. It's
Mhm.
crazy. I never, 42 years old. And I'm like, maybe I would do that too. Maybe I'm tired of going on the apps and, the apps, they move
And
quickly.
there's a new app. We won't talk
Maybe,
about it. We'll let
yeah,
everybody do some Googling, find out.
yeah, get on the Googler like Johnny. Um,
Or like my mom typed in Googie.
yeah, you get on the Googler and start Googling. But anyways, there's a little bit of non-judgment with how the women carry themselves, because yes, you're right, Russell. We are all in it to a degree, gay males, like we've got to navigate all of the things that come with it,
Mhm.
and there's a lot. So Maybe, I think one time my brother had asked me like, what's so good about the show? And I'm like, maybe it's the relatability. Now you could look at me and be like, Ronnie, how do you relate to the show? But I got my inner Larsa, and it's a good show. That's all I
You know
got.
what? It is a good show. It's a good show just because the whole cast is so relatable, and maybe they're a little bit more relatable because you and I are from Hispanic descent. So maybe there's like little isms and things in there that
Mhm.
we catch that some people don't. But I mean, look at Fire getting better with age,
Mhm.
looking amazing, looking like $1 billion. Um,
Do you,
anyways, we got off topic.
real quick. No, I'm gonna just to add to literally what you just said. Sorry, we will get back to topic. Sorry. Um, One thing I like, and it's gonna sound like a knock. I even feel like there was a scene. Maybe it's because it was a breakfast scene or something like that,
Mhm,
where Alexia looked, a little bit more like her age. I think one thing, and I don't know what community this is per se. I don't know.
mhm,
It might just be Miami. I love it when you get to that point in your life where you're like, I am fly. I carry myself amazingly
mhm.
no matter what. And there was a moment that Alexia didn't look. I'm really trying to say the right words. Didn't look as her confessional, but like
Mhm.
she still was the like Alexia was still the illest girl in the room in a degree. And I just think I like that. And could that be Miami? Could that be this TV show? Could that be, being a Latino woman?
Yeah.
Something is just really, really great about that inner self confidence. Damn, I am really going to like my inner shaman. I need to, not inner shaman, but I'm getting into that emotional part of the show. So let me just
Well, no,
finish
let's
with all
continue
that.
into the emotional part of the show. I think that was a
Yeah.
great. We don't get to see a lot of that. We don't get to see
Mm-hmm.
it. We get to see a lot of the interaction and the arguments in between all the girls on every single franchise of the Real Housewives. But what we don't get to see very often is when there's actually a full circle moment or a truth healing moment. We have they called it the witch doctor on the show, and in my family we call it brujeria. So but there's something to be said that everyone was able to be vulnerable to that extent and really put themselves out there because I haven't seen every cast just do that. I've seen cast try and play games that get people to open up, but this was really an emotional moment, and it really did get me because, like I said, we all go through our own things, and so just to hear the inner pain and worries, it normalizes them. It normalizes us because sometimes we find with social media and YouTube and all these online platforms that it's superficial and they don't have problems.
Mm-hmm.
We all have problems and we all have our own problems.
Yeah.
And one
You're
thing
almost more perfect by being imperfect.
by
Like
being imperfect,
without sharing that, you're kind of like, how do I know who you are? A little bit.
my mom and my grandma used to tell me this story as a kid. And I know we're going to get off topic, but this is kind of like it's in line with this. Everyone bears their own cross on their back. Now, whether you're religious or you're not, this is just a reference. Everyone, because it's in reference of Jesus bearing his cross, you know, and walking with his own crucifix. So everyone bears their own cross, and this man told God, my burdens are too heavy. This cross is too heavy. I need a lighter cross. So he passes him several different crosses to put on his back, and he keeps going back, and he's like, God, this one's too heavy as well. So finally, at the end, he hands him another cross, and he's like, how does this one feel? He's like, I can do this one. I can do this one, and this cross isn't too bad, and I can move forward with this. And then God turned to him and he said, that's been the cross you've been bearing this whole time. And it really puts it into perspective that some of our problems are less bigger than we actually make them. And Alexia, I give her so much credit for bringing up what's going on with her son and the legal issues that is going on there, and she's scared
Mm-hmm.
for him because she's a mother. She's a mother that has to let go and has to let her child make their own mistakes. You can only protect your child for so long and so
Yeah.
far.
She
Um,
gets put in a space of potentially enabling him. I mean, I think
yeah,
I wouldn't be the only person to say that, and we're saying it with love. Also, I mean, you're right. Like to be a parent and have to deal with that is
yeah.
a very tough scenario. Can I do a quick aside and ask you, what did you think of when Adriana said, well, at one point we used to always look at Alexia as, wow, she really goes through it. But then it's kind of like she puts herself through it or something like that. I mean, my girl Adriana was just being funny this episode. And what do you think of that in general? Do you think Alexia is an overly dramatic person and kind of does it to herself?
I mean, look, in a sense, yes. But again, this is cultural. Like,
And that's
we
what we
were
like
raised
about
this
her.
way.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
why
yeah.
people make jokes about us, because they're like, this is why they made those jokes about Johnny Depp hiring his lawyer. They're like, Johnny Depp hired a Latina lawyer because don't nobody know how to dig up better dirt than a Latina, or dig up the past than Latinas. And it's a running
Goodness.
joke. And we laugh about it.
Yeah.
But we make these problems ourselves, right? And I mean, maybe that's just a little bit of like,
and you
self-awareness for myself, because
yeah.
I know I make my own problems. I make a whole lot of problems, but I end up coming out on top, and I fix them. So,
and you also don't want Alexia to turn herself down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is, I've said it before in these episodes, that like she's so true to the way she talks. Like, I feel like you're getting exactly who she is on and off the show. There's no caricature of Alexia, that's for sure.
Again, she's Teresa of Miami. They're identical twins, separated at birth, but one has blonde hair and the other one doesn't. They both present themselves the same, like, and they both don't apologize. Or when they do apologize, they're like, "I'm sorry, I said I'm sorry." And Teresa does the same thing. But I think Adriana was onto something when she said that Alexia puts herself in this position.
Yeah.
Because she kind of does. She didn't need to bring up in the bus. We should, shame, or what we should really highlight is women going on dates with married men, or bringing up, the whole thing about Julia and the
just the stereotype,
of the Russians. And there's just like, you really didn't need to say that.
I think Alexia feels like if it's on, I'm going below the belt, and I think that's the way she operates. She doesn't really harbor all these feelings, maybe, but if it's on and she feels threatened in a way, she's just going to go for it. That's maybe
I'm guilty of that myself.
Well, then maybe. Hey, we said relatable. I
hit below the belt a couple times. There's not enough cockies in this string for me to. We're just gonna leave it at that.
You're like, nobody is off limits when it's on. In terms of what they all shared, what did any of them what did you connect with? It seemed like Larsa shared that I was in this perfect marriage. How do I regroup? That was hers. Marisol's I thought was interesting, because hers was like, the rest of the women have kids. I don't have kids. And I mean, I don't have children. So sometimes I feel like I have a hard time identifying with the rest of like my cousins and stuff like that, because everyone, they have children, and it's like, I feel like my life is just as valuable, but like, what are my pains? What are my issues? And Marisol said, I don't have my parents, and that is really detrimental to me. It looked like Gertie was the one with the brother that's still kind of speaking to her through, through her. And so that's pretty deep. Kiki, we want to know what it is that the start over process is. Alexia was the son, and letting Peter go, I guess. And then who else am I missing? What did Adriana say?
Adriana, I think, had to do with love, but again, like, hers wasn't really the Hold on, excuse me. I gotta sneeze, and I don't want to do it on camera.
Okay. Well, right now I'll tell you, it's a great time to say we do have a segment. Whoa! I should have just left the damn. Okay. What kind of noise? Who sneezes like that? Oh my goodness. I will tell you real quickly though. Make sure you go to both of our Instagram and Twitter handles, Russell X Raymond and at RandomlyRJ, just if you want to get more of our opinions or whatever. Sir, what kind of sneeze was that?
Sorry.
You sounded like Marisol Looks. Like, what happened?
Oh my God. Kiki. Just, no, I've always had this, like,
you were giving sneeze, like,
Look, I have the most obnoxious, loudest, and I try to suppress it, but I feel like if I suppress it like any further at this stage, I'm going to give myself an aneurysm, because like, it is like full chest, how Mariah Carey sings, like that's how my sneeze comes out. It's just like I throw out a vertebrae every time it happens. It's wild.
It's going down. Everything happens on these episodes here. Real Housewives of Miami, the recap. You never know what you're gonna get. What were we saying? What were we saying after you had a
We were
sneeze
relating to
attack?
everybody's spiritual moment.
Yeah.
So I related the most to Marisol because let me tell you why. Just being at the age that I am now and losing my grandparents at the age that I did, I was 13 and then I was 21 when I lost my grandmother, but I was 13 when I lost my grandfather. And my grandfather never had biological children. He started raising my mom since the time she was about 5, 6. My uncle when he was 7 and my aunt when she was 4. And so there's so many huge staple moments that I just wish I could turn to them and hug them. Or like when I bought my first car, just have my grandpa in the first seat, in the seat with me and just be my shotgun rider. My grandmother was able to do that with me, but like, again, she got to see all she got to see my 2 older siblings have their kids, and she got to become a great grandmother before she unexpectedly passed. But she got to see my sister in a happy relationship. She didn't get to see me in a happy relationship because I wasn't in a relationship, for all the years that I was going through high school and when I was starting college and going through that phase of my life. And she didn't get to see me graduate. The only thing she got to see was really when I got my acceptance letters, which is great. And I have that memory, but it's like, there's so many major moments that I'm missing a piece of, there's a piece missing that I wish was there. And I also don't have kids. So sometimes I question the fact of, why do I work so hard? And why am I just not blowing all the money that I have and just have enough in the bank for a funeral? Because in general, like, why am I working so hard? Why am I building an empire? Why am I going through these things? Because I have no one to give it to other than my nieces and nephews, but they have their parents to do those things for them.
Well, I had a added perspective to that. Like, when you are the not single, but like no kids, having friend or a cousin or whatever it is, sibling, you kind of like never could really get too deep into the emotions because it's never going to be as hard as like raising a child, which is totally understandable. But then within that, you like keep everything buried so deeply, and I thought that like I really like took a deep breath. I excelled with Marisol by saying, sure, I don't have what they have, and the gosh, what it is to be Larsa with 4 kids, what it is for Lisa to have to deal with Lenny with the 2 kids, babies, they're young, but at the same time, it does not mean I don't hurt. And I just really took from that because I'm always feeling that way. I'm always like, well, I can't really like have too big of an issue because I don't have children, I don't have that like huge pressure to leave that legacy, like you said, with the money, but I still feel feelings. I still, like you said, with your grandparents, I think, my grandparents, I think the last one was, anyways, it's been like 12 years, 15 years. It's been a long time without a grandparent. And there's also another thing that I connected with Marisol, aging. One thing you'll always hear about me in terms of this show, why I like Housewives to be older, I just love to see it. I love aging is not easy. And sure, we love that baddie. We love like a young housewife like Nicole. But I really do always take, you've heard me say it, a Sonia Morgan, in this case, a Marisol in a caftan. Like, I just take to an older cast member, a Dorinda Medley, because growing and aging is not easy. When you start your life in your 20s and 30s, it's pretty put together and tight. But it's not till you're 42, and I still think I'm young, and we all know I look good. But I know that going forward, there's a lot of things to think about, and sometimes when you don't express them, it all comes out right there in that particular group that they were in.
Maybe it came out a little bit more emotional for them because we're right at the tail end of the pandemic. We're just about like I would say about a year out from like really like the hard times of the pandemic, because I don't know if you remember this, but last year in December, we all got it. Everybody got it. In December and January was like the time everybody got it because it was when we first started to open up. And so everyone was interacting again with each other. Airlines were really going full throttle. Everything was just going full throttle. And of course, everyone got sick, but we started to build this herded immunity to it. And so, but again, we're still bottling up those emotions that came with it. There was some really mentally trying moments through the entire pandemic. And so when you put that into perspective and when you put how important life is, opposed to all the BS aside and your job. And I think that's what we are in this generation, is that they're recognizing, and companies are having a hard time with this. This generation is recognizing that experience and connection are more important than a paycheck, because you'll make up the money on the back end and the money will always be there to make, but your moments and your family won't. And if that didn't resonate with a lot of us during the pandemic, then I don't know what you resonated with, but it really hit home with me during the pandemic, because I did lose a parent during the pandemic to COVID, and it was a rough time. And the guilt sets in. Did I put too much time and effort into work and chasing my career? And was I too focused on having a great time in college instead of spending more time with my grandmother? And picking and choosing moments because I really want to be around my friends and like have friends, but let alone like I missed some opportunities with my family. And so when it came to the spiritual healing moment, I think they were really wanting to open up, because again, you can only live your life one time. You can't go back in time. You can't fix mistakes that you do. You have to keep pressing forward, and you really have to take into consideration the choices you're making versus the actions that you're doing. And so, and we all question, am I doing the right thing? And we get to that point in life. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going down the right path? Am I surrounded by the right people? We're all human. We all feel. And again, we're all going through our own burdens. And so it was a very human aspect of that whole conversation that happened there. And I think everyone should do that. I would love to see the Housewives really open up, and I would love to see everybody let down their guards. At BravoCon, I would love to see them let down their guards and kind of just pick and choose. Andy, maybe pick 10 out the crowd and be like, we're going to just get real. And I want you to, put your heart on your sleeve and just show me what you're working with here. And
they say that every single time when you hold stuff in, it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna have that moment where it's gonna spill over, you're gonna sort of get tense, and that doesn't feel good within, you got to take care of your body. If you hold in so much tension and act like I'm cool, I'm chill, which everyone wants to be cool and chill and no problems, but you're gonna get tense and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel like this. On a more comical note, but
what?
yes,
Do you know she was in the shape of a W? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. I was just throwing a little humor there. No, all of the women made really great comments that I think we could all attach and relate to.
Yeah.
With Gertie, I'm thinking about even in the aspect of what we were criticizing, or I was criticizing earlier. I think she just really wants to make her mark. And when she said, I feel a presence with my brother, I think she's even proclaimed throughout the season, I'm a workaholic, and she does need to, pull that back. But I think there's a part of her that just, maybe I can't put words in her mouth, but let's chat about it here. Yeah. It feels as if like she even has, not guilt would not be the word, but like, let's get to a thesaurus, but almost like a guilt. Like, I have this, not just this precious life, but like these opportunities and the success, this great husband and the kids. I feel like she's just going and going and going and going, because she has such a connection with what she lost, so to that's actually a beautiful moment in terms of what she shared. But every single one of them,
it's hard to be successful and live your life. It really is. It's hard to be successful and live your life and embrace these moments that are given to you or that you've achieved, and then feel a sense of guilt because the person that means the most to you is not here and they're not living their life. We all go through that. And it's normal. And, actually, I would love if any of our viewers would leave their comments about what they're most scared about and, going forward in the future into 2023 and what they're most excited about. Like, let's do our peaks and valleys here. I'm most excited about really going after my career and recutting my reel and, being back here with you and, really getting back into doing the podcast space. And you've been my mentor. You know that I've told you this through message.
Yay.
And I really look up to you because you really have done it. You've done it all. You've been on reality television. You worked under production that Jenny Rivera ran, and you know how much I love her. And one of my valleys is I'm scared to see what failures I'll come across. Not that failure is a bad thing, but I'm scared to see how it alters my thought of what I thought my perfect life was going to be,
Mm.
but where it actually takes me. But I was also told, if you're not scared when you're doing something, you're not doing life right. Because if you're overly confident in what you're doing, that means you're not taking the big enough risks. So get uncomfortable. So I'm scared
Yeah.
to get uncomfortable, but I'm also excited.
And they say that those nerves are good. You know, you're supposed to actually dip into those nerves. You're supposed to like lean into that.
Mhm.
Um,
When I got my show on Peacock, I had nerves. I had so many nerves. Oh my God. I was like,
and it should be like that because it's what you like. You know, I was. Oh, keep going. This is
no, that was it. That was my face. I was like, am I gonna do this right? Are these kids gonna relate to me? I was the new host. I was the newest host of the two. And like you were talking about, there was already connection. There was already a connection with Hillary and Angie, and I was the third one coming in that had no rapport with them at all. So it was like, oh, are they gonna like me? Like, you know. But
I think there
sure enough,
doesn't
it
need to
worked out.
be. I don't think there needs to be anything wrong with the concept that you want to do good at something.
Yeah.
And so when you get excited about it, I mean, honestly, this is if you wanted to be a hater, you could be like, "There's some rinky-dink little, podcast or YouTube little platform here," but I still enjoy it. I still get excited by it. You know, when I started doing some call-ins for 94.7 in New York City to the great Miss Jonesy, like I was so not shocked, but I was like loving that all this adrenaline, all this excitement came back. And that's to say, I already generally know how to do radio, but I was like so into it again. I was like,
Mhm.
what more could I learn? Like, how much can I extract from this experience? And so I just say that to say, you feeling like nerves about something that you care about, I think we as people need to like knock it off. Like, yeah, heck yeah, you're nervous. Heck yeah, you want things to go and lead to other opportunities.
Yeah.
I think we should never be quiet about that. The only thing I'll be quiet about though is my peaks and valleys. If you want them, you're gonna have to go to patreon.com/randomlyRonnie Jr. and drop a
Damn.
little coin up in there if you want more from me.
What is it? What is it called? When people request the videos that all the celebrities are doing now.
Yeah. Well, Cameo like that.
Cameo. You need a Cameo. So
I
if
need
you
a
want to find out his
cameo.
information, just
Yeah.
head over to Cameo and hire him so he can give you his emotional insight. But now that we're outside of the emotions and we got to that part, let's move on to the hot tea.
You talking about this moment?
I am talking about
I
that
mean, this is
moment.
not the exact moment, but we are, Lisa, the mother-in-law. Oh my gosh. How are we okay with loving this television program, but it's so tough to watch?
It is tough to watch, but you know what? I love how the mother-in-law really went in on her son. She's like, she really said like he's breaking the chain of the family history. Like no one's ever divorced and now they're divorcing. And she also mentioned like my son's going through a midlife crisis. And she really called him out on it, which I appreciate because I'll tell you why. A good mother will call their child out for what they are. A bad mother will defend their actions till the end of the day. So the only way your child was going to learn lessons is if you hold them accountable.
Well, I also think it's confusing for the mother too, because I would assume maybe she didn't get treated the greatest also in her marriage, but the rule, as she stated, was we stay with them. So you're on one level, you're having a camaraderie with Lisa because she's, as a woman, woman to woman, she's trying to have that have her back. But then she also knows I would never call it like the rules, but she knows where she had to stay in line. And I've seen that in marriages and generations on another level, which I won't get into right now, maybe on the Patreon. No, but I've seen that before where you have that balance between what I feel about what's actually happening, but then where do I play in alignment towards where my life will go and how I was raised or what I saw growing up,
Yeah.
It just is definitely confusing. And Lisa, I guess, did see that girl at Formula One. And I think when they were talking about it, even referring back to the table, they were saying, oh, maybe she should, not go out and mix in with Lenny and the new girl. You're going to run into her. What's going to happen? But Larsa said in her confessional, no, why don't I get to go out? And I really, we make jokes and we laugh at Ronnie because I'm always like Team Larsa, but like these are some of the reasons that I've really enjoyed her because it is the truth. No, why? What? Because I'm sad. Sure. I mean, in terms of Lisa, because I'm sad. Sure. and because you want to have her back, the friends of hers saying, "Oh, maybe you should not put yourself through that." But then there's a Larsa type that's like, "No, it's over. It sucks, and it will be hard. The darkest roads are still ahead."
Yeah.
But I don't get to go out. I'm like I'm fly. Like I still run shit to a degree, and I just really love that Larsa has really been having Lisa's back in so many of these ways. Also in the table, she said a couple of nice little comments, but she goes, "Let me get to the room and I'll really call you and have your back, Lisa."
Yeah.
So I guess,
you know what? I really appreciate that about her because
Mhm.
that's what a true friend does. A true friend doesn't need to be having these conversations out in the open tables with 6 other women. You're gonna tell it like it is. No one's gonna tell you your truth. Like your best friend, they're really. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many times my best friend has really just laid into me, but I don't take it personal because the history is there and the longevity of our relationship, and so
Right.
they could really kind of tell me anything that they need to.
Sometimes they're trying to get you to a point, like, and
Exactly.
like thinking about this real quickly. This was mid-December, but we actually have this fun clip. It's like we're seeing all that's going on right now in terms of watching the show, which was recorded several months ago. But like then we got this really mid-December, just amazing Lisa moment. Let's take a look at it.
You guys right here, please. Right here too. Thank you. Right here. Down the end. Thank you. Over the shoulder. This one. The other shoulder. Thank you.
Look, but that's what she needs, and that's what best friends are for. She deserves to be in the spotlight. Let her have her moment.
Yeah.
Lenny can kick rocks.
I mean, you need that good girlfriend or that good friend to kind of, push and inspire you to get there. So to see what we see on the show and then to see where she's at, being so lovable with the paparazzi, it's to me, it's amazing in a really, effed up situation. Yeah.
But again, who's really winning though? Sure, Lenny has what he wants, and he's laying up in bed with some new chick, and it's fun and exciting. But Lisa's on her glow up, and she looks great. She couldn't wear anything, and she's in the middle of New York and Miami, running her life and having a good time with Larsa. So, I mean,
I kind of feel like Lisa is what you shopping on Amazon, this is like what you I'd like to purchase this, not purchase, but then this is like the backup.
That's
Like
a terrible reference.
I was trying so hard and I muffled the whole damn thing. What is the slogan I was trying to say, Russell? What did they say? What you order versus what came in the mail? Like
what you ordered versus what arrives.
Jeez.
Amazon versus Wish.
I messed up so bad on that. I was just saying Lisa's a queen, and then who is Lenny really with now? Like he can't be happy. He can't be happy with that choice. But
in the great words of Patty Stanger, the penis does the picking.
Okay.
So maybe he was just excited. Picked the wrong thing, in my opinion. Really,
midlife crisis for our guy.
Midlife crises are great. Go through it. Tear yourself apart. But you know what?
You like him, Russell. You jump all over that thing. Yes, you would.
Look at those. No, look at his teeth are all fake. Never in a million years would I ever get close to anything like that.
Yes, no for Lenny.
I don't even want to age like that. Trust me.
Yeah, but
if I ever look like that, I'm gone. You will never see my face. Nobody that I know will ever see my face again.
I think a different tune when I say Anthony, Dr. Nicole's husband. Now I think a whole different tone with that.
Anthony, oh my God, Anthony is aging with such grace.
Give him his
and the
own...
salt and pepper is really working on him and the beard.
Yeah, and give him his own show. He had that little attitude. He's like, "You think I'm supposed to fly you around? No, I got a job."
I would love to see him and Joe Gorga with Frank Catania and go on a boys trip, like ultimate boys trip.
Yeah.
Like we've seen enough of the Housewives. Like we love the Housewives, but we've seen the spinoffs, and we want to see a good cast of ultimate boys trip because they're messy. They're messy, but they're fun. Especially, I don't know. We'll have to pull this clip next week. But when when Joe Gorga was a little wasted at the Jersey Shore, and he came walking in the house, but he slid and he hit the floor.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
But
Yeah.
it's real. We all go
Mhm.
through it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being there's nothing wrong with being that. Like, there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whether you're masculine or feminine, like,
Mm.
be who you are. Be who you are. Just don't be Lenny.
Words to live by. What other last take did you have of the ending of the show, which sort of set up a really good to be continued kind of moment? We also see Larsa, Marisol, and Alexia kind of getting together. What was your take on that?
Your girl
Sit
dropped a
down.
bomb.
I know.
She dropped a bomb.
I was shocked. Well, I mean, the trailer does show it, but like, whoa.
But here's the thing. How many lesbians have you seen make out with like a gay friend when there's a little bit of alcohol involved? And so I need more. And I was trying to dig and I couldn't find it, but I just need a little bit more insight, just a tad, because they were making out at a club, you know. And Julia, I mean, maybe Julia has a little bit of attraction for men right now. She's going through it. She's an empty nester. You know, she doesn't want to be home alone and she wants to be living her life. And
well, I think that's what made it more not scandalous, but made it more like to raise the eyebrows, because she is not, you know, having the greatest at home moment with both the empty nest situation and Martina. They're like sort of having little roadblocks. But you're right. It could be such a blown out of proportion thing. You know, it could have been, they were at the gay club, actually, you know, it was like that, you know, totally. Like, if I make out with a chick tomorrow, like, gorgeous, by the way, like, it's like, that's not really like making a proclamation. That's not like waving like is Ronnie bi? Like, it's like, slow down, you know, but also who cares? Because, you know, everything is a spectrum too. My question to you is, does that put Larsa in a position of being like a little bit of a, what do they used to call She by Sheree? They used to call her like the bone collector. Obviously, people really try to jump on my Giselle Bryant, which I'm not for. But, you know, in terms of like bringing something and boom, lighting it up. What did you think?
I think Larsa just kind of, she put the bait out there and we're going to see where it goes. But here's what I think is going to play out. I think they're gonna lean into it. Alexia's gonna bring it up, and she's gonna pull the table in for trouble like she always does. But I think there'll be a revelation of, oh my gosh, no, that's like my best friend, and like, you know, we get drunk and we made out. Like, I haven't made out with my best friend, so let me make that very, very, very clear. None of my best friends have I made out with. So, but I know of people who have done that.
Yeah. Or it could be something.
Maybe she got a man.
I was gonna say, or it could be something. You know, it could be the empty nest situation. Martina was what she liked all these years, but yeah, I mean, even I think I'm trying to remember how Julia introduced herself last season, but I think she did a lot of those. I mean, she's clearly married to Martina. But I think she did a lot of those like, oh, and this is just who I fell in love with. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with somebody who proclaims, you know, I'm a lesbian, or somebody who doesn't. But, you know, she did kind of give a little bit of that empty or open space.
But here's a better question.
To make it like I'm with Martina, it's who I love, but not like, I don't know.
Or here's a different perspective on it. Do people lean into what others want them to be because of the choice that they've currently made, or are they just uncomfortable speaking their truth because the outside world really kind of hones in on them because they want them to pick a side? So maybe Julia's not 100% lesbian at all. Maybe she is bisexual, but we know in the gay community, if you say that, it's like, it's kind of frowned upon in a bit. Like,
what's frowned?
Just stating that you're bisexual. Not saying that you or I see it that way, but I do know a lot of the gay world who, because you're currently with a man, it's like he has to be gay. He's definitely gay, or she's definitely a lesbian. And it's like, do they just go with it because like, yeah, I'm a lesbian, because they just don't want to hear it and deal with it? Yeah. You know, so Julie could very much be right up that alley where she's with Martina. And so everyone associates her as a lesbian. And so she just takes it as, you know, this is how you see it, whatever, I don't care type of situation.
She's kind of alleviating the chatter of like, sure you are, Julia, you're married to Martina, you must be. Like she
Yeah.
by just kind of going that way. I don't know. I feel like there's so many, and we could do this as another topic on another episode, not relating to Housewives of Miami, but it is a really good topic because yes, the unfortunate thing is the bisexual of the LGBTQIA plus community does sort of get not taken seriously, or the credibility gets questioned quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have a problem with that because I do think people are 100%, could be bisexual. I got no issue with that. But I
Mhm.
do sometimes like feel that it's empowering to put a label on it. Like I know a lot of people nowadays like no label. I
Mhm.
kind of like try to be like, I'm Ronnie, I'm 42, I'm a gay man, boom, let's go. Because I feel like that's almost like a more empowering situation than being very like elusive with it all. Well, how old is he? Like, what does he like guys? Does he like girls? What's his deal? Like, no, I'm gonna say it. I feel like you're actually doing, I mean, labels are tough, but I
Yeah.
feel like you're also kind of showcasing the lack of shame that that anyone would have thought you should have had maybe at a different stage in your life. So that's
Mhm.
why I try to always, when I'm like doing podcasts with younger or people my age, I'm always like, no, we're gonna say exactly how old we are. We're gonna like be truthful about a lot of shit because it is, in my opinion, empowering. I know that's not the topic, but I had to at least get that out.
No, I understand that, but there's also that element too of people just don't want to explain themselves.
Mm,
I think the LGBTQIA2 plus community is very much over saying, I came out, I had to come out. Like,
mm.
why can't I just show up with my significant other regardless of their gender or sexuality?
Ooh, this is a
Why can't
topic.
we show up with them just at the table? And it is what it is, and you're gonna accept it. It's so, and some people see it as like, my siblings didn't have to come out as straight, so why do I
Mm,
have to come out as gay? If this is the way I was born, I'm gonna bring whoever over, and you should just accept it. So I see both sides of the story of like
yeah.
not shaming yourself and being proud, but I also can see how people are just over the fact that they have to explain themselves. Um, we do celebrate pride for a reason
Mm.
because rights were fought for. But I think this generation is really over explaining themselves, and maybe Julia has fallen victim to that. Maybe she doesn't want to explain herself. Maybe she doesn't want her sexuality up for conversation because no one else's sexuality is up for conversation.
Okay, I said I was gonna like we'll table it and make it a whole nother
Oh, gotta
conversation
go.
later.
Just kidding.
But no. Okay, the only thing, and again, we could really
Do
do a
I
whole
get 1 point
episode.
on this one too?
Yes, you get 5 points.
Oh,
You
thank
have
you.
fantastic co-host all the time. But to what you just said, yes, that makes sense. But I
Mm.
remember like, okay, so like for instance, it is every right and the prerogative for Queen Latifah, Queen Latifah
Oh,
to
okay, okay, okay.
be a little more reserved. She has
Mhm.
every right, and I
Yes.
think it was finally maybe a year ago or something that she made
Yeah.
a thank you to this woman that I love, and that was enough.
Yeah.
But I remember one time I was at Long Beach Pride, to be honest with you, and she was performing, and you would have had everyone in our group thinking this is gonna be the moment when the song UNITY came out. It was like I'm like she's about to let it go. She's about to like
Yeah.
let it be known because
Yeah.
it had been years and years and years and years and years and years
Of
of speculation.
speculation.
And again,
Yeah.
it's nobody's business. I just want to say on the flip side of your really great argument, there is also an aspect of like, gosh, like if you are proud of that too, Queen Latifah, if you're proud of that, imagine like to just even dip into that and own that, and yeah, I'm a wonderful, talented, woman. I'm a lesbian. That's a lot of empowerment for other generations. And again, it's not anyone's responsibility to do that,
Yeah.
but it's just a perspective that I thought I'd throw out to what you said.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. But I mean, at the end of the day, what do you think it is for Julia? Do you think that this was a fun makeout session? Do you think maybe she's kind of dabbling into some boiling water, for lack of better words? What do you think it is? I
I
personally
think
think It was a fun makeout session with a friend that she's known for a while.
I think it's going to be misconstrued.
Yes.
I think they had a minor lull moment in the show, and Larsa says, "I'm gonna keep this show on the air." That's what Larsa said. You know, I'm with or without the show, I'm successful. But she said, "Oh, hold on, I see a little bit of a lull going on here. Let me kick things into gear." And I mean, who better to kick things into gear with the gossipy all the chisme with
Larsa knows
and
what she's doing. She does. She knows what she's doing because she throws it out there and she lets everyone else reel it in. And I like that about her because it's like, well, I didn't start the trouble. I just brought it up. That's all I said. You know what I mean? She's that girl.
And she also does. She is that girl. That and she also is very like, I'll go up to Julia and say, "Yeah, dude, I said it." Like she's very like that calm, like, "Yeah, Julia, like I said it, and this is what I had heard." And you know, she like makes it in a way that she's not stirring it up and talking trash. However, that doesn't mean that after it gets to Alexia and Marisol and the word starts going around, Julia might be like, "Why are you all talking about me?" So it is done what it was meant to do.
I mean, it is. I'm excited. And you know what? If Julia is also moving on with her life, I'm excited about that too, because
we don't
sometimes
know.
chapters come to their end and it doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. It doesn't. You know, maybe her time with Martina is done.
My prediction is that it's not done. My prediction is Martina, they're going to rekindle. She's going to get through the empty nest syndrome that she has. She's going to get through maybe things that happened in her life, you know, as a mother long time ago, those really dark things, you know, those detrimental things. And I think she's going to be okay. I think she's going to be okay. We also
don't know if Martina made out with him or not and just passed him over.
Oh, goodness me.
Look, I mean, we're all about it.
Listen,
if they want to share him.
I live for a show that has Larsa dating and Martina dating. Like I'm ready for all of it. I'm ready for it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Martina was
like, we're gonna have a little fun now.
Yeah, Martina's gonna be pulling all the hot guys. Like, you know, she's gonna show everybody, you know,
Martina's
she'll be like
gonna be hef with all these men around her.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and Julia.
Anything is possible.
Julia gets to do the picking. Like, I'll make out with this one tonight. I'll make out with that one tomorrow.
Anything is possible.
Bring it on camera. We want to see it on camera. We don't want sister wives, but what we do want is we want to see the anatomy of what's really going on.
Hey, now, all I know is after that bomb dropped, like you said, it's going to be shocking. So we shall see where it goes. Do you have any last comments just on the entire episode? We briefly talked about Lisa and the mother-in-law and all that. Do you have any last comments watching episode number 7, Stars and Cigars?
Overall, I give it an 8. Just a flat 8. Just because of the fact that we're still not going as deep as I want to go. The show is quality.
Russell loves to go deep.
But the show is quality enough to be an hour and 15 minutes and be blocked at an hour and 30 minutes to have a 90-minute show. It really does hold enough weight to do that. So we're not getting enough context, or they need to eliminate some people, you know, some characters, not necessarily through the season, but just per episode, focus a little bit more on one or the other and really dive deeper into these things.
Do you think it was actually a little more difficult because half of the episode is coming off of Key West, transitioning back into Miami? I feel like that could have been a little bit of an issue.
It could have, but again, we didn't dive deep enough into the Keys either. It was there, but it wasn't.
Well, remember what I said? I was all excited. Key West. I've been there. You know, my cousin got married there, and you know, I was looking real good of the era. And it was so fun. All my family there. It was wonderful. But like, you know, I remember feeling what Key West felt like. I felt like we just got that amazing resort, which, by the way, I tried to call the resort. I just ran out of time. I wanted to find out how much the rooms and stuff were. But you're right. It was like telling us we are in Key West, but it could have been a green screen. Like we didn't really feel, and I guess how much can you really do? But like, can't producers, because they watch. Hi, producers. Especially my friend that we used to work on Married at First Sight together. We would like a little walk and talk. I know that's harder production value wise than to just sit them at a table and say go, but like have them maybe walk through the neighborhood. There's that the furthermost point of Cuba, the landmark right there. Like you could have had the girls like walking there. You could have had them going to see a drag show. Like, I don't know, something. I know that's all harder.
Exactly. That's what we want. Go to the shows out there. Go to the bars out there. We want to see the fun elements to why you're out there. We really do. We wanna
harder
see you.
because producing wise, how do you do that? Especially this cast is probably pretty popular. You know, like I think back to like earlier Real Housewives of Potomac when they got to be in the club. In I can't remember where they were traveling to, but you kind of lose that when, I mean, imagine Beverly Hills, Housewives of Beverly Hills going anywhere. Like
But again, the Kardashians have went to Toucans in Palm Springs, and it was fine.
we don't talk about the Kardashians because in this house, it is always Team Larsa. I have famously said that Larsa didn't need the Kardashians.
I'm
The
looking for my wig
Kardashians,
so I could change characters.
the Kardashians needed Larsa, and I stand by that. I stand by that. Yeah, no, we always got to salute the queen.
But
Hey
again,
now.
they can go anywhere as long as there's prior arrangements made. And it's not, and honestly, having been in production myself, it's not that hard to book locations and venues, especially if you're willing to give the credit or at least the screen time because it brings them business. So, I mean, that could have been an element as well because I don't exactly know what the contracts state for Peacock with the show, but it's a possibility that if they film at a certain location, that location has to give Peacock or, you know, this production company a percentage of their income for X, Y, or Z amount of time because they're bringing this free advertising. This free advertising. But we've seen the restaurants in Miami that they're filming at, so
I wonder if
it could have been one of those sticky situations where they had the luxury of doing it, but it might have cost on the back end, so they didn't want it, or maybe they just didn't think of it.
Do you think the production doesn't pull as much weight of being like a Peacock streaming show versus being a Bravo show? Like, do you think
no, because Peacock,
because it's still
so
NBC Universal.
NBC Universal is throwing so much money.
I'm just throwing it out. And by the way, all these critiques are really wonderful critiques. None of this was bad.
Yeah.
It's just the concept of saying, like, they had that little lower third, the Chiron, that said back in Miami. It was like, first of all, we could tell you're back in Miami, but like we didn't even really, like you said, we did not really feel a sense of what Key West is like. I was over here telling you Key West, Key West, Key West, I like it, and you were like, you know, you were about it, and yet you could still kind of be about it because you didn't really get to touch or taste, you know, Hemingway's house is right there. Like, we should have seen
the taste of it. Like, you didn't get the elements of what we wanted.
And that doesn't need to necessarily be the girls in you know, in the full pack, you know, but it could have been like two cast members, Dr. Nicole and Gertie, doing a walk and talk, and us get in the B-roll to really match up. Again, we just got resort, but that could have been, for all I know, they filmed in Miami.
Like, no, that's a very real thing. Or they filmed in Sarasota, you know, somewhere over there. Like, all the beaches kind of look the same. You know, you see the seaweed and the clear blue water coming in and the white sand. It's all kind of, when you're on the outskirts or on the perimeter and you have those nice beaches, they all kind of start to blend because I've been to a lot of them. So
they filmed at go ahead.
Again, where they're not diving as deep as I would like to, because this cast is very quality and they have the depth to them and they can hold the time slot. Now that could be a whole nother issue where they weren't able to get a time slot like that, or they just don't want to give it that much time. But I mean, Housewives is such a successful franchise and these women have so much to tell in their story. So again, to scale back on who you're covering per episode and focusing on some versus the others, we already know who the three front runners are. You know, let them have every episode and then throw in one or two of the other ones, and then the other ones just kind of fill in dead air or like give their commentary based off of events. But again, like, we're not diving deep enough. Just like we still haven't seen, we're in episode 7. We still have not seen Julia's modeling career take off. We haven't seen any more meetings other than topically meeting with Kiki's agents that she set her up with. We haven't seen it. We've seen a portion of Larsa's business, haven't really seen more of that. We're seeing a lot of Lisa's relationship downfall, but I mean, we're highlighting on someone's misfortune. We haven't really seen Gertie throw a major event. Like, we have, but we haven't. Like, there's no highlight going on there. We really want to see her in her element. Again, Marisol is a secondary character. That's fine. Kiki is a secondary character. That's fine. We want to see more of Alexia's home life, because again, the reason she stated she wanted to do the show is because she wanted to bring awareness to her son and his now disability post accident. And I think that's great. when you highlight things like that, it shows little kids out there and like younger individuals that you really can go somewhere despite what disabilities you may have. You can really achieve your goals and dreams and just go for it. And I really feel for her, because that's part of the reason why she wanted to do the show and continue with the show despite all of her unfortunate misfortunes. So again, we want to see more of that. You know, we haven't really seen, in general, we haven't seen much home life from any of them at all. It's really out and about and going. And maybe that's what the audience is calling for. But
screw that. The audience don't know what they want.
If that's the truth, every other
life,
franchise has home life. We see it with Beverly Hills Housewives. We see it with Jersey Housewives. Everyone has home life, and we haven't really seen it with Miami.
I wonder if Alexia wants to keep her home life a little bit more separated. She had the 2 marriages, and she showed a lot of Todd at the beginning, you know, in the marriage ceremony. I wonder if she's like really keeping that, like when production is getting together with her for the week, like, what do you got going on? She's like, Todd's on vacation. He's on a work thing. Like,
Todd's gone again. It's the craziest thing.
I really feel like she's, and it's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I feel like she's being very protective of bringing him in and creating something.
And you know what? We also love the fact that her son is progressing despite his horrific accident. Like, we really want to see him progress because we're rooting for him. We really are. And we want to see, you know, we had the tidbits that we got at the beginning of the season, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and we're going to get more of that from him and all the home life of everybody, because they just really dipped into this. Maybe this Lenny thing and this Lisa thing became so big, they just had to follow all of that at the, you know, in real time, so to speak. I think we're going to get more of that balanced situation. I truly believe that. And we love the show. So this is not a saying we don't like it. We really like this. We want this to be, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but we want Real Housewives of Miami to continue to be the hottest thing moving in terms of the franchises, because a lot of people really, really like it. I mean, I got sick and tired when people said, oh, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is the crown jewel. No, it's not. It's not. Not if Kyle's on the show. No, it's not. You know, there's some compelling gals there, but no, it's not. Potomac does pretty well. I do like Potomac. Very much interested in New Jersey. And I'm not one of the few people. I am not falling off of New York. Now, whether that's the legacy show or the regular season, I think New York is just such a great place that you always, if you could get like 50% of the cast to be pretty compelling, you're going to have a winning show. So I'm not giving up on New York, guaranteed. But again, we're not getting what New York has to offer.
But that was coming off of the COVID scenario, the limitations.
We could agree to disagree on the cast here, but like in my perspective, I want to see, when it comes to Real Housewives of New York, I want to see the Brooklyn Queen. I want to see the Queens. I want upstate. I want West Side, East Side. I don't want these pretentious women that have no personality. Like, it's very vanilla. It's very bland.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about
names.
all of them.
You're not coming for Luann, are you? I love Luann. You're not saying Sonia Morgan is tired, are you? I mean, she had been a little
tired. She needs some keels under her eyes.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to table this because we'll do a whole episode.
What I want is I want who Diddy is with at the moment. I want them on the show.
Okay, true. But can we also add that we keep some older cast members on the show? So I'm with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think Jenna Lyons will be good. She seems like she's the lead of the new franchise. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. And you know, the new cast is younger, so we will see where it goes.
Kristen Chenoweth would be great. She's in New York.
I know, but you're not going to have somebody give up their career. My choices
you don't have to give up your career. They would work around you. She has the lawyers to agree to whatever terms and conditions that. Yeah,
but wants. if you're gonna be in the swill and somebody on your cast gets like this crazy storyline, like you're attached to it. I'm just saying there's no way Kristen Chenoweth will do it. Here were my nominations, or people that had been talked about that I thought were great. And I know we're going to stay on Miami. I'm going to get to Adriana and the music video in just a second, but just because we did do an aside about New York. And by the way, if you're watching, You watch all these shows, so shut up. Um, I had said that
Very
I
true.
thought that Cece Sabathia's wife, Amber Sabathia, should be a potential um, cast member. I don't know if they live on the New Jersey side, but Cece Sabathia being very, being a Yankee or a former Yankee, but
Mhm.
really being in the mix of New York, like really
Yeah.
like a lot of philanthropic stuff. Amber Sabathia, she put together a group the year that radio personality Angie Martinez ran the marathon. Amber Sabathia had put that group together. So you already got like this. Angie probably won't do it, because you already got your good radio money coming in.
Mhm.
But bring in Amber Sabathia, give her a name. She's beautiful. That's who I said. I said Olivia Palermo, who used to be on The City. Again, she's a little like doesn't need to do the show, but if a good contract can keep you clean and not get into the swill of all the housewives-ish drama, she
Mhm.
would be great. They talked about Carolina Bermudez from KTU, also in radio. She lives out on Long Island, so that may not work. But the one who should have done it or could have done it and has done reality and is still young enough, but I feel like she fits, but she went back to TV hosting. Adrienne Bailon could have been perfect as a Real Housewives of New York cast member. She had just moved back to New York, not
Okay.
necessarily the city. Do you agree with any of that?
You know what? I do, but I was gonna say going off of that, because Adrienne already has a career going for her, and I mean, not to say nobody else has a career going for her, but I mean, she's in E News, like she's very, very tied up, and she's very
Mhm.
about that, which I'm very happy for her.
Yeah.
But a good close person to that would be Julissa Bermudez.
Oh, I'm with it. I'm
She
with it.
has
Yeah.
the personality and she has what it takes to be a housewife, and she would
Mhm.
be a great addition. And she would stir the pot up in New York, because look, it's not being stirred. Again,
Mhm.
we're not getting the depth of New York when it comes to the housewives of New York.
Mhm.
We don't want it.
Well, we believe Julissa, I believe, not allegedly, but we believe dated Maxwell at a time. So there was
Mhm.
that. Not, I don't think anymore. And I do think she's living in LA, but I mean, for the sake of the show, Julissa Bermudez would be perfect because while I always like a little bit older, you get to get a cast member like Julissa to grow into all of the stuff.
Mhm.
And
They had
Julissa
Empire
Bermudez,
Girls.
I watched it every episode.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
miss
they
an
had Empire
episode.
Girls. That'd be a great spin into this
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
franchise.
Okay. This was
She
a
was
lot of,
working with Yahoo though, so shout out to her. She's doing great.
yeah.
I ran into her not too long ago out in West Hollywood, and we chatted up a little bit.
I like her
And
a lot.
she's like one of actually the spearheads of Yahoo Entertainment News. So
Oh, okay.
she's doing very well.
Yeah.
But again, I would love to see her again in front of the camera in a reality perspective, like she was in Empire Girls. I would love to see her on the Real Housewives of New York.
It's always tough because when you got that working money kind of coming in, do you want to do Housewives and it get kind of too much? But Garcelle was in that situation. Garcelle is a known actress, done TV hosting as well, and then did Housewives, and it really hasn't affected her. At least these, what is it, 2 or 3 seasons, has not really affected her in a negative way. To what you said earlier, as long as that contract is very tight, you're gonna because they could have definitely done Garcelle with what was did she do the situation with the ex where she like sent an email to the entire agency that he used to work at?
Yeah.
It is tight. Anyways, I think we could talk about casting all day, every day. Let's finish up Miami though, real quick.
Okay.
This is episode 7, Stars and Cigars. I feel like we talked about it all. What did you feel about Adriana though, having a music video, being just as goofy as all can be, and saying, I want everyone to be in my music video? The naive energy of Adriana.
I know.
What did you think? And Larsa did not shade her. Let's not say that. But the producer said, oh, were you ever thinking about, like, would you have ever went to the music video? And Larsa's like, no, I was never going to go. I am ready to rip in, but let me ask you what you think of all of that.
I mean, look, first of all, I didn't know that she sang.
She
I did listen to both of her songs.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't necessarily, it's hard to say. I wouldn't dub myself as a singer. I would definitely dub myself as a music creator. And there is a difference there, just like there's a difference between a singer and a vocalist. So anybody can be a pop star if you have what pop star quality and not be a vocalist, but not everybody can be a singer. They can be a music creator. So I feel like she creates music, and I would love to see a remix, like a house remix to this song, to both of her songs actually, because I can very much see that in the club if she like collaborates with pretty much any major DJ, actually any Instagram DJ that is really successful can kind of spin her music and make it, elevate it. they can elevate her music, and I would love to see that for her. However, I was really surprised to hear that she even sang at all, because I've never known Adriana to be a singer.
I think a lot of that was featured on the earlier seasons. Yeah.
Yeah,
But also I don't feel like I could ever knock somebody, like if you are proclaiming what your lane is, like I don't know. I feel like I think Sheena from Vanderpump Rules, she said it best. She said like something along the lines of like, oh, I mean, I loved Britney Spears growing up. I will never be a Britney Spears, but if I can make a fun, cute song and tour at a couple gay clubs and have fun with it, what's really the harm in it? And I'm not necessarily belittling the craft of music. I'm not saying Adriana said that, but I think that with a lot of them, Melissa Gorga was actually working with Johnny Wright, so there could have been a further progression in her career. I think each and every one of them have to balance the I'm just a nostalgic is it nostalgic? No, novelty artist, or I'm just having fun, or in the case of like Real Housewives of Potomac, Candace, who really is talented. I have my ways about Candace, and I've interviewed her years ago. But I do think she's really talented, and I think she really
Candy from Atlanta.
Well, that's a little different because she came with all the credits to.
Got it.
She started the show with the credits.
Yeah,
she
very
said,
true. Good point.
She said, "If I do this show, you're going to know I had a Grammy."
Yep. These
other girls, yeah. So, anyways, I think with Adriana, I think it's cute, it's adorable, but you got to realize not everyone on this show is your friend. And another thing too, well. What did you think? Larsa being so dismissive. Did you think that was Larsa being mean?
Not necessarily, because here's the thing. We as people put ourselves in bad situations, and you should never put your profession, your income, or your hopes and dreams in someone else's hand. And that's exactly what Adriana did in the situation when it came to her music video. She put the success in everyone else's hands instead of hiring dancers and asking the girls if they wanted to be in the music video at any point, drinking cocktails in their element, standing around in the crowd, enjoying themselves, dancing on couches. Great. You show up, it's not going to make it or break it, because I already have my hired dancers. We already have our moments. We're going to have our Aaliyah moment on the boat, just like Aaliyah did when she had rocked the boat. We're going to have our moment, our choreography going on, but you ain't going to make this or break this for me. However, you're more than welcome to be in the music video, and I would love to have you be a part of it because this is so special to me. But if you don't show up, it's not going to break me. So I think she was hopeful for what she was trying to achieve, but I didn't see it panning out either. So I don't think necessarily anybody was being mean. We just pick and choose our priorities, and that's not anybody's priority. So that was a setup for failure, that she thought anybody was going to prioritize her music video.
In this creative space, you have to show and prove, and if nobody else sees it, then they don't see it. Yeah. You can't necessarily get mad at them for that. I mean, Larsa in particular last season, when they were having a little bit of a scenario, was like, I mean, look at you. You don't even comb your hair. I mean, that was in a jabbing, back and forth situation based on Adriana kind of coming for Larsa. So it wasn't really mean. But my point is how, like, you as the person, Adriana herself, like, would you attach yourself, Adriana, to somebody in the cast, like 3 years from now, a new cast member who said they wanted to do music but didn't really showcase that they're serious about it? And that's why I say we really, really have to show how much we want this before we could expect everybody in the cast to do it, and then it turned into a loyalty thing. And I guess I'm not really that mad because seasons before, nobody really respected my queen Larsa, but I feel like now everyone's kind of seeing that she's pretty funky with it. She's really warm when she needs to be. She's assertive when she needs to be as well. Let me tell you something. Her saying I'm not going to marry my brand to this joke is not necessarily mean. And I will say, I'll give myself tough medicine too. Right now, I'm creating a lot, and I've got a lot of really wonderful opportunities. Things are moving, irons in the fire. But because of that, and it, thanks to you, we had went to the gym, last week, and we're going to continue to make that part of my new 2023. Ronnie's going to be looking all kinds of sexy, right? But if anyone were to ever say, "Oh, I don't really want to work on this project with Ronnie because he really, he doesn't really have, it's not really as tight as he used to be," I have two angles to go. Fuck you very much, or I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm gonna tighten up. We're gonna work like you can't take that personal. And anyways, we don't know if Adriana is gonna get personal on the next episode. We
I think she
don't
will.
know. But I would say that I hope she doesn't take it personal. Now,
Yeah.
we did do some searching because we always do some searching here.
Merch.
And as we were looking at all the photos, we of course saw the great Marisol who missed a beat, and that's okay. We have fun with that. But we also did see Adriana sort of tightening up. And I'm not saying this is a Photoshop situation or a Facetune. I'm saying sometimes you have to tell the world everything you do, you're telling the world something. And Adriana, when you're telling the world this is what it is, okay, you're a little more serious about your music. Okay, this is your third record. This is your third music video.
Yes.
Maybe we got something there. But to have an expectation, and again, I do not want it to be a blow up where Adriana is like, oh, they all bailed on me. She felt sorry for herself. The director didn't do no help either. He just kind of,
He didn't.
That queen added salt to the wound.
The director was very much giving toddlers and tiaras,
with
with his tantrum that he threw. Instead of being like, you know what, I'm a director, we're gonna regroup. I'm gonna get you some dancers. This is how much it's gonna cost because we'd love to see a price tag.
Yeah,
and we're gonna take you. We're gonna elevate you to the next level. You don't need these girls.
And that's another thing. Let me try to be in that situation where I'm Adriana. I decide I'm going to do this. These girls don't show up for me. Oh, okay. And not even in a mean way, but for sport. Okay, who is it? Larsa, Marisol, Alexia. I'm going to come with even that much better of, like more skilled, more skilled dancers, maybe even a better look. Not that we're making anyone's look against anyone else's, but sometimes you got to look at this industry. Maybe I'm wrong, Russell. Please correct me if you feel like I'm doing too much here, but I feel like sometimes you don't take it personal. Just show them the fuck what you got. Nobody is responsible for you, except for your friends, I guess, but no one really is responsible for you to believe in you. Adriana, you got to dig deep.
She does. She does have to dig deep. And she could literally be whatever she wants to be. And like coming from personal experience, trust me, if I've told you how many people told me that I wasn't going to be on TV when I was in high school, telling them that I wanted to be in television and I wanted to do all the things and achieve the things that I wanted to do. If I would have listened to them, trust me, I would have never made it onto Peacock, but I didn't care. And I also for the
reference, Create the Escape, streaming now on Peacock.
Yes, thank you. And I will say I am one of the only people from my college graduating class, not to knock them because they have very good shows, but they're in the production element, but I'm one of the only ones who landed a show and was actually the host. So again, if you want it bad enough, you'll push for it. And like grant you, I've like fallen off my little drive lately, but like you of course have been a mentor to me and you brought me back. And so now we're trucking forward and we're moving forward. And the couple months of self-doubt there is falling off. And like we all go through it because you have your peaks and you have your valleys. Right. Again, Adriana should have doubled down. She should have hired some really great dancers. I'm sure Casper, we'll call him Voldemort just because we love Jen so much, but I'm sure she could have called Voldemort and he would have brought it. And he's very involved in the Latin community. He's very about it. He's all about, he's a fame whore. He's all about it. Yeah. So he would have come and he would have set her up very nicely. Well, that's even if the choreography was very intense, he would have had a separate set of choreography for the artist herself, opposed to the background dancer, but it would have synced together and it would have worked in her favor. But again, like you said, I would have doubled down and I would have let everybody know what time it is.
And for the record, when I said that was a generalization, that was not to anybody. No, that's what it does. And one thing that Candace did so beautifully on Real Housewives of Potomac is, and how do I say this nicely? Because I do think Candace is talented, but would Trina have done the music video? You however it was connected and however the management and all the deals within her label were put together, there is a extra benefit and an easier way for Trina's team to say yes, knowing they're going to be on this gigantic show called Real Housewives of Potomac. So Adriana, even though you're a part-timer, you have a chance to really dip in and find out who's moving in Miami, and let me get all of them on my side because I do have these cameras. To do something while you're up is very valuable. But Adriana is sweet. She's cute. I just totally love where she's going. Maybe she's trying to play victim even a little. I don't know, but I just really built a little bit of love for her in the regards of, this is going to sound arrogant, but it's not. I would even in my 20 years of broadcast experience, I would even take Adriana under my belt in terms of media training, like, because I'm that good. But it's because I think there's something there. And, you know, you can't get into that wallowing moment of like, these girls were not showing up for me. You're right. That's bad planning. Russell said it. That's not the best planning. Makes for good TV. It makes for good TV, you know, that confessional moment.
Yeah.
Were you going to go, Larsa, to Adriana's? And she's like, no, I would never. That makes for great TV, but we're kind of giving a critique in terms of being the best artist. And you don't even have to be the best artist. This could be a novelty project, but do know that there's resources. And you know what? I'm excited to see what happens.
So am I. No, I really am. And you know what? I also want Adriana to stay single because I want her to be that bitch that comes on top and who is running the show. I want her career to take off, and I really want her to hone down and on her craft.
Yeah.
Take it serious. Hit the grind a little bit. Don't tell everybody what you're doing. She could tell the cameras what she's doing because the cameras can catch everything and it won't be revealed until later. And then just come out with the glow up.
Yeah.
And
you have to get to a point. You have to get to a point where you say, I'm going to do this with or without you.
Yes.
And that's a really good point to be at. And also we do it as regular people too. Like, you know, people sometimes will want to like tag your Instagram and it's like, I can't necessarily, like, I'm not trying to, you don't get to come with me. like if I've done something for 20 years and you started yesterday, like you gotta earn your weight. You gotta get your weight up. Like, I know all of this sounds really crazy. And people looking at me like, you dusty, Ronnie. I don't give a care what you think. Like, I know what I do, you know. And that is the point that you have to get to. Like, until when you see me on the Today Show, just know that I've been putting stuff together.
Look, not only that, but we've seen how Twitter and Instagram is going wild over the Housewives of Miami. So lean into who your fans are, especially the ones that can get you into the right direction. All them little blue check marks, those count. If they like you as a TV personality, you know what, the opportunities are endless. So Adriana needs to lean into those opportunities, and she needs to even seek advice and mentors from some of these blue check marks that have been retweeting her and talking about how much they love the season. Like, they want to see her win. So lean into those. Don't worry about your castmates, because your castmates are all doing what they need to do to also elevate themselves. Lean into your fans, because that's really what's going to make you.
Adriana, get on the phone. Say, can I do a scene with Paulina Rubio? Can I do a scene with Gloria Estefan? I want to talk to Gloria about longevity. The 2 times I've met Gloria, one was on the streets of New York City and one was at an event. One of the warmest people you're ever going to talk to. So there's duality in that.
Makes me so happy to hear.
On the streets, just a random, like, you know, met Gloria, but also at an event. So those are 2 totally, one is a fan and one is like, you know, we were filming for American Latino TV at the time. Both wonderful. So that's where you go. And we like Adriana. So it's all uplifting. It's all great. We wrapped up the episode, season 5, episode 7 for Real Housewives of Miami. The recap, because you always need a little R&R. I am Randomly Ronnie Jr. Russell Raymond. Before we go, Russell, you're going to be the boss here. You're going to say yes or no. Do we have time to do a little bit of a little social media buzz? Because you said a second ago that there's a lot of chatter for Real Housewives of Miami. And I got to tell you, our production staff, huge production staff, they've done some digging. So if Russell Raymond says that we can do this segment, we're going to do the segment. Okay. So real quick, you are now entering Real Housewives social media buzz. And this is brought to you by Social Pop Now and Pop Culture POV, point of view. Those are both ran by myself and Russell. His is at Social Pop Now and mine is at popculturepov.com. So let's get the segment going where we take a look at all the memes and the stuff that the chatter around Real Housewives of Miami. Let's well, the first thing, yes, come on, give them hands. The first thing we're gonna do is shout out the Instagram handle that is not only giving tons of information, but they also showed us love and ran a clip on their Instagram, and they do pretty well. So that's RHOM.peacock. Got to send them tons of love. Thank you. Also, really getting into the Bravo countdown and what is it called when you put list together. Well, yeah, like a list of like top housewives, top this, top that. It's funny that the name I say top this, top that, because this is to our boys over there, the Bravo Bottoms. So they're really killing it. They both had been on Watch What Happens Live to a degree, so we're showing them love as well.
I really love how they have a bottle of poppers as their profile
Yeah,
photo.
yeah. And one thing I'll mention to you in this segment,
VCR cleaner.
this right, because we all have a VCR and we want a good time. Shout out to them. No, one thing I like about this segment is Real Housewives of Miami is so instrumental. As you said, it's all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over TikTok, that we have realized, while I think we do a great job, Russell does a great job, I do a great job, there's so much room for everybody. So I don't want to do our show where we're like, we're the best. I want to do our show where we're shouting everyone out, because we're all kind of enjoying the show together.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm shouting out those two Instagram handles. Moving on, we got to show some love to Lisa, who did a really cute Christmas holiday post, and it's what you want to see, you know.
And you know what? She looks happy. She looks happy. You figure we're several months down the line. I mean, she was giving Superwoman right here. She really was. Like, to hold it together and to give your kids a Christmas that they're not going to forget. That's great. Yeah. And she looks great while doing it. So good for her.
Yeah.
And see you later, Lenny.
Gertie was right. Just move on.
Just like Lenny and his hair, he fell off. Okay.
Oh, no. We can't talk about
moving forward.
We can't talk about the love of your life, Lenny.
Ew, not LLL. Unless it's LJ, I don't want to hear about it.
When I think of Lenny, the first thing I could think about is just
a retirement home.
Just gross. Shout out to Kiki. We love Kiki. Moving
That's
along.
That's gonna be the look on his new girlfriend's face when his teeth fall out, when his dentures fall out.
I feel like in this episode, we've talked about him a handful of times. Moving along, other holiday pictures from the cast and inside of our social media buzz that we're doing here. A cute picture with Dr. Nicole,
our favorite couple.
Do you see the caption? Nowhere else I'd rather be. So she's witty too. You know, we like that.
A gorgeous family. I really love them. And like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're giving aspirational lifestyle, and she's a great cast member. This is her second season. We'll see where she goes from here, you know.
And she's a bleeping doctor. Like, oh my gosh. Nail on the head. Like, whoever did this Bravo casting for Real Housewives of Miami, like, great job to you, because Dr. Nicole is where it's at. We want to see more of Dr. Nicole's.
Oh, absolutely. Moving along in the internet, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok space, moving into Christian Gray Snow, which he also does radio in Seattle, I believe, on the Jubal show. Lisa and Larsa have gone from accusing each other of living in warehouses and being broke to
warehouses.
Oh, did I say warehouses? Like, damn. Why don't you take it away? Go, you go to pick that up.
Lisa and Larsa have gone from accusing each other of living in whorehouses and being broke to Larsa defending and helping Lisa against Lenny. All in the course of 7 episodes. I don't know a better show.
So big
Real Housewives of Miami.
A huge shout out to Christian Snow for really putting into words what we're all thinking. And I was nice about it. I'm like, you live in a warehouse. You like, that's an insult in my world, you know, whorehouses. Okay. So that's another good like social media thing, but also Bravo to Bravo, cast member to cast member type thing. Kate Chastain had wrote, well, it's official. I just watched my favorite Bravo moment of all time on the new episode of Real Housewives of Miami. And this was from last week's episode. Lisa tells the girls that Lenny is bringing his new girlfriend to the house, and Alexia immediately screams, we have to call 911. This entire scene and how they supported her was top notch, basically, is what she's stating. And also, Kate Chastain is going to be on, we were talking about Peacock streaming, you know, how Russell has a show on there called Create the Escape, but Peacock streaming in early January, Kate Chastain will be on a show called The Traitors. So that should be exciting for her. And that's cool to see Bravo cast members getting geeked out about the show that we're getting geeked out about, you know?
Yeah.
Moving along the line, we also have, this is Carlos J. Harris. Give RHOM the Emmy, the Peabody, the Critics' Choice Awards. It's prestigious television. And it's, of course, the moment that Lisa had to go through. I feel bad. I do.
I know.
It's like we're celebrating the tension. Ugh. Moving along.
We're
from
celebrating her new life. We're gonna twist that. We're celebrating her new life. We don't
Come
care
on.
about what's going on with the divorce, but we're celebrating the new life she's about to have because she's about to level up.
Okay, yep. The Lisa level up, yes.
Yes.
Moving along inside of our Real Housewives social media buzz, we have Lost in the Bravo sauce. Who do you want to be when you grow up, and why is it Nicole Martin? Which, listen, people are kind of latching on to really liking Dr. Nicole. I don't think it's just me and you, Russell, that like her. I think people are really enjoying her.
I love her.
So, hey,
I'm gonna
this
wear
one.
that outfit on our last episode.
There you go. Work it out. Gibson Johns wrote, leave it to RHOM cast to genuinely deliver the best shaman, healer, psychic, or medium housewives seen in years, which is really such a true a sentence because they don't always go well. You know, it sounds
No.
really good in production, but this one has a cast that's so, you know, intriguing and really kind of step up to the plate. So it was really a wonderful scene. Moving along, do you want to take this one? This is also from Gibson, who's always on top of all of the really great tweets, but also has interviewed half of the housewives as well.
Lisa filming a sit-down brunch with her estranged husband's mother, who she has a famously continuous relationship with, to give her details about the standoff with his mistress at the club. Real Housewives of Miami is the best show on TV.
I mean, that's the weirdest thing. She has that contentious relationship with the mother-in-law, but yet they had to kind of come together. People are loving this show. It's sad, but like, again, level up, Lisa. You're getting through it, and we are eating it up, and we're supporting you. It's so good. Inside our social media buzz, we also have me at the end of every Real Housewives of Salt Lake City episode. And I got to tell you, I just have not really been enjoying Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Potomac makes me happy. Giselle makes me happy. But Salt Lake City, it's like, what's happening? Meredith, can you be nice to Lisa, please? Yeah. So that was, of course, in reference to Marisol with the what is Gertie saying? It's like a Rubik's Cube. You're trying to figure out what she's saying, which was such
she
a
was
great.
saying, like, it just keeps changing. Like, once you understand it, it goes into something else.
Yes.
She was giving Janet Jackson when she was doing all that.
Yeah, she was the Rhythm Nation. She was
Yes.
If. Yeah, and Marisol. Marisol was like, she's, ay, Dios mío, Gertie. It's so funny.
She sounds like a young granny, like, is how I see her, and I really like it.
And I think she could flip it. Like I had seen some something she had posted of like a green screen that she was doing for Ultimate Girls Trip, and she was given like you know, young hot thing, but also she could give like, you know, what did you say, the under eye
oh, when she had the bags.
Yeah, and she, you know, and I always said I love a good caftan, you know, on Marisol. Like, so she kind of flips it. She kind of is really stepping up to the plate. Also another funny one we saw in terms of like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok or whatever. This is from Martinez with Eddie.
Martinis with Eddie.
Martinis, yes, but the T. Okay, this is too much for me. Anyways, he wrote, this sent me, Marisol is freaking hysterical based on the facial reaction. Again, this is a nod to Gertie. So that's another funny one. We also have this one from Faces by Bravo. Imagine saying Real Housewives isn't educational. I've learned how to detect a cheater by the shape of his head and a lesbian by her eyebrows this year. So shout out to Peacock Streaming for Real Housewives of Miami and also for the Ultimate Girls Trip, the one that was at Dorinda's house. Because listen, we learn things on these.
Look, have you heard about Brandy Gladville, the rumor of her coming back?
Well, there's always been kind of rumors, but I would be
now,
for
no,
it. Do you
now
think
it's
she's too
in the press?
Oh,
what do you think? I don't want to see her.
I would. Okay, well, I feel like this is a tangent, but we'll kind of wrap it quickly. I just feel like, can we see her in another role? Like, I don't like. She always kind of comes in, lights it on fire, and then leaves. Like,
She's
I think
a
it's
Danielle Staub. No one wants her.
You called her a what?
She's a Danielle Staub. Nobody wants her.
We're gonna have to revisit this. We're gonna have to revisit this. She wasn't bad on Girls Trip.
Nobody wants her.
No, I can never argue
She's
with
like
you.
The last piece of the bread. Everybody passes her up.
Oh boy, tell us how you really feel. moving along because I really ain't got nothing. I was gonna say why not, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't invest
No,
that much time
girl.
into Beverly Hills until
Go and do
Kyle's
your
off the
thing.
show. I don't really. It's not a show for me.
Nobody wants to see you. Have a nice day.
This is from Queens of Bravo inside our social media buzz here, where we're looking at all the stuff that is chatter online. Footage of Lisa confronting Lenny and the other woman at Formula One. Now, I didn't want to bring this footage up because I just felt like it was a very vulnerable scenario for Lisa. She's on a show. If anything, this was like a receipt, but like it just not when I watched the clip, I wasn't into it. I wasn't happy about it, and glad, like you said earlier, that Lisa is leveling up and she's beyond having to go through all that. That one wasn't.
When we all go through a situation like Lisa's gone through, we all tend to get down to the level of petty, and then you realize like it's just not worth it. Just let it go.
Well, was it level of petty? Because it was emotional, sure, but like, wasn't it also her sort of keeping receipts? You know, she's not in a regular scenario. She's in a scenario that like this girl could end up on page 6 telling her side of the story or trying to nestle her way into the show. I felt like it was hard to watch, but I felt like maybe Lisa just, you know, well, not as an example of when Robin put on the camera when Mia and Wendy had an issue in Potomac, but like sometimes you just need to have a visual in case it kind of bites you in the ass later.
I mean,
maybe,
yeah, but just record like from a distance. Just be like...
It was just I love Lisa too much to like celebrate that moment. And also, why I'm not really into putting too much more light on that girl. Lenny, you know, you got some
doing Lana Del Rey, which is very messy.
Yeah. And moving on in terms of our social media buzz, Russell, if it was okay with you, I wanted to also say, because we think that there's no there's room for everybody, we wanted to shout out some of the people along of our AfterBuzz journey, where we worked with them, and they're also doing some really great recaps of Miami as well. So the first person we're shouting out, check out his YouTube channel, would be DJ Richie Sky, who is dominating on YouTube already. And has interviewed. Is it right? You did a show with him as well. I did a show with him as well.
DJ Richie Sky. We did Real Housewives of New Jersey. Still newlywed. I believe he's on his 1-year anniversary. So congrats to him. We're very happy for him.
Yeah, they're
but
cute.
I mean, his content is great. He really does cover the Housewives through and through. We're gonna try to get him on with us. Maybe when we head over to covering the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Spoiler alert.
That would be good. Yeah.
So we're gonna contact him. I love Richie. I message him now every now and then. He's doing great. Like he's in DC. He's all over the place. Like he's really, everybody wants a piece of him.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful YouTube channel. And also, when I was sort of developing my own, he lent a lot of great information and like advice, I guess you would say. So it's always really cool to kind of say, yeah, also check out his channel. If you love what we do, this is great. Thank you for watching. But also check out DJ Richie Sky, which you probably are already doing. A newer channel, DJ Jesse Janity, is also teaming up with Courtney Stewart and Dariel Kristen. Dariel, is that I believe I got the last name correct. Anyway, they have a channel called Next Mood Swing. Type it in as one word, and they cover everything under the sun for the most part, but they have a moment that they devote to Housewives, you know, all of them, Potomac, Salt Lake City, and Miami. And I will tell you that Courtney did also agree that Dr. Nicole's Anthony is something nice. So check them out as well. And shout out to the three of them creating over there. Also wanted to shout out Everyone is Terrible. This is Hollywood Leon, who has sort of pulled away from doing more Bravo and Housewives stuff, but he's like really deep into like, you know, White Lotus. Of course, the girls loved White Lotus this season. So definitely check out Hollywood Leon because he's doing a great job over there. We also have shouting out Zach Peter, who has, you know, been so great on the YouTube platform and has also crossed over to The Ringer, which, if you know, The Ringer is Bill Simmons' platform through Spotify, which I believe he's covering actually a show about the Kardashians. So he's, you know, he's doing a lot of different things.
He's doing great. He just, I just saw that he is in the midst of his tour or he just wrapped his tour because he was doing live coverage of his show. But also check out his wine. He has like rosé and Moscato, I believe it is. He has his own wine brand.
Right, housewife inspired. Yeah, we need to make a purchase.
Yeah, we need a case.
Purchase that.
I don't know if that's going to create more trouble, but We love that season.
Well, then that's going to bring me to a question I have for you in just a second. But before we do that, the last person within our, all had been a part of AfterBuzz at one point that we want to show love to is Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. Now he's kind of on a hiatus with the program, but he knows Housewives better than anybody else and all the pop culture stuff, and has a really great attitude in terms of the way he broadcasts. Him and I did a breakdown of Oprah's silly, asinine gift list when it was the holiday season. So we just did that a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. So you'll see more.
I call him the Upper East Beast.
Yeah, you'll see more of him. Yeah. So big shout out to all of them. And that was the whole thing we wanted to do inside the social media buzz, is we want to look at some real fun clips and stuff of that nature, and also shout out people that we've sort of collaborated with on a degree, and now they're doing a great job as well. If anything, we're giving these vibes. This is how we rolling right now, okay? And if we've learned anything, is you got to have confidence through and through. In the darkest moments, she came out of it,
You guys right here, please. Right here too. Thank you. Right here. Down the end. Thank you. Over the shoulder. This one. The other shoulder. Thank you.
I mean, the level up that we are seeing, that was a bit ago in December, but nonetheless. Yep. But yeah, this has been the Real Housewives social media buzz, where we're talking about all the chatter that's going on Twitter, Instagram, and all the stuff. It has been brought to you by Social Pop Now, which Russell administers, Pop Culture POV, which I administer. Go to Social Pop Now on Instagram and go to popculturepov.com for more pop culture, hot topics, and all that stuff. We did it, man.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
All right. Shout out to Larsa. We love you, Larsa.
Love you, Larsa.
Goodbye. And we'll see what happens with that music video. Oh, bye.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.